Everybody filled out their hearing slips that wishes to speak on a specific agenda item. It looks like everybody has. So as I call this meeting to order, roll call, Kathy,
Ron Buchholz,
present.
Bruce Paulson,
Here.
Dawn Pettit,
Here.
Jesse Betcher,
Here.
Tweed Schuman, Stacy Hessel.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, just one other thing I want to mention before we do the Pledge of Allegiance here. If one of the committee members has to leave early, if you start out on one of these hearing procedures, I would like you to finish it before you leave. So with that being said, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the statement, committee, and hearing procedures and statement hearing notice. The full statement of the committee and hearing procedure documents, including direction for the individuals wishing to speak at the public hearing to be conducted at this zoning committee meeting, are available in the front of this room next to the agenda for today's meeting. The statement of committee and hearing procedure documents is hereby incorporated into the record for the committee meeting, and any public hearing conducted at today's committee meeting has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 985 of the Wisconsin statutes in the Sawyer County Record and the Sawyer County Gazette and posted. Okay. Approval of the March 19th minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the March 19 minutes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve March 19, 2021 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Public comment. Please note, comment time is intended for the general public comments, not comments relating to specific applications before this committee. Each agenda item requiring the public hearing will have its public hearing conducted just prior to the application being considered by this committee. If you wish to speak on a specific agenda item, we encourage you to hold your comments until that specific hearing. So is there anybody out there that wants to speak on public comment? No hands come up, Jay.
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay,
Nope.
all right.
I see one in the audience here though.
What's that, ma'am?
This portion right now is for general public
General
comments,
public
not
comment.
for an agenda item.
Did
So-
you fill out one of these?
If you'd like to comment on a specific agenda item, then we'll call you at that time. All right.
Okay,
Hearing none, moving on. Rezone applications, it's a public hearing. Town of Media, rezone number 21-004, owner Zachary and Kelly White, northwest quarter of the southwest one quarter, section 23, township 37 north, range 8 west, parcel 018-837-23-3201, 40 total acres, zone forestry 1. Purpose of this request is to change zone district from forestry 1 to agricultural 2 to allow for hobby farm and farming activities, including beekeeping, raising less of 15 animal units of livestock for personal consumption, and vegetation and soil management. Construction of a small barn and necessary coops and pens, and development of a garden and small fruit orchard. As per the staff report, again, the purpose of this rezone request is to change 40 acres from forestry 1 to agricultural 2. This would result in compliance with the proposed rezone and would not require an additional conditional use permit. In the attached packet, you'll see that there are several other properties in this immediate area that are already zoned agricultural 2 and several others that are zoned agricultural 1. The only other zone district in this area is existing F1. The town of Meteor has approved the request, and as part of their comprehensive plan shows this area on their future future maps as residential. However, almost all of the Highway C corridor is already shown as residential, but the zone districts vary from agricultural, forestry, and residential. The applicants already have a primary residence on this property. As per the USDA NRCS web soil survey, over 80% of this property is shown as farmland of statewide importance. Per action of the town board, like I had mentioned, motion was approved, signed Dale Olson, chairman, Ellen Welling, supervisor, Mark Rogers, supervisor. Approved with no conditions, signed Clarence Frey, town clerk. There were 6 opinion letters sent out, 2 were returned. I have no objections to this. Perfect use for the property. Fully support the request and look forward to the fresh eggs and zucchini. Michael Hansen. I have no objections to this. We appreciate our new neighbors. We wish them well. Eric Mickelson. That is all, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, is Zachary and Kelly White present? Would you come up, state your name, and then talk to the committee, please, on what you want to tell us?
My name is Zachary White. I'm the property owner with the application that's been submitted, and we are seeking a rezone just so we can start a small hobby farm here in the future. We bought the property as forestry, and we would like to clear some land for a very small pasture and have a few small animals just as a part-time hobby farm, not as anything commercial.
Do you have any questions for the
I don't think.
Stacy? You got any questions? I do not. Jesse or Dawn, do you have any questions for the applicant?
My only question is, do we need a motion to go into public comments to hear this or not?
Yeah, we do. That's my fault.
No,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go on that.
Okay,
Public
thank you.
hearing.
Forgot about it. Okay, we have a motion. Second, Stacy. We have a motion and a second to go into public hearing. Sorry, that's my fault, folks. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, committee.
All right, does anybody out there wish to speak in opposition? Or I mean, I want to go with in favor of this rezone? Any hand?
No.
Okay. Is there anybody out there that wants to speak against this rezone? Okay, if none, need a motion to come out of public hearing.
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
move,
Okay,
and I'll second.
we have a motion and a second on the floor to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Discussion action, the town of Meteor rezone number 21-004, owners Zachary and Kelly White. Legal description is previously read into record. Requests to change zone district to 40 acres from F1 Forestry 1 to Agricultural 2 A2 for a light hobby farm.
Okay. Ready?
I'll move to approve the request.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the rezone for the Zach and Kelly White. Rezone number 21-004. Any more discussion? Kathy, can we do a roll call, please?
Bruce Paulson,
Yes.
Dawn Pettit,
Yes.
Jesse Betcher,
Yes.
Stacy Hessel,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
all in favor.
Okay.
Okay, finding of facts, it would not be damaging to the rights of others or property values, and it would be good use to land that is suited, well suited to agriculture.
Thank you. Moving on, conditional use applications. This is a public hearing in the town of Bass Lake, conditional use permit 21-004. Owner Darlene and Michael Friend. Rockford Beach, lots 4 through 9, block 6, lots 35 through 37, block 6, section 30, township 40 north, range 8 west, parcel 002-169-06-0700, 0.621 total acres, zoned residential recreational 2. Permit desired for an accessory building 16 by 30 in size across a town road from a dwelling. Sawyer County zoning ordinance section 4.26 parent 2 would require the construction of a single accessory structure on an adjacent parcel divided by a public roadway that does not contain a principal structure may be allowed under the subsection by approval of a conditional use permit. As per the staff report, again, this proposed accessory building is to be 16 by 30 in size. The primary dwelling is located across the road with a site address of 7884N Highland Avenue. Building would be used for personal boat storage and would be less than 12 feet in height. The applicant, again, requesting that 16 by 30 accessory building on vacant land subject to section 4.26 parent 2. Sawyer County zoning determines that the proposed accessory structure could not be constructed on that part of the lot containing the principal structure due to the inability to meet setbacks, primarily due to the location of an existing drain field for the residents and other outbuildings. That is shown on attached maps in the packet. The proposed accessory structure would meet all other setbacks on the vacant parcel. There were 17 opinion letters sent out. 5 were returned, 4 with no objections, 1 with objections. This one is check marked, I have objections, and then signed Mary Lou Cadwell with no additional comments. I have no objections to this. I've been great neighbors and take care of their property and land, so I don't see any problems with them wanting to build this outbuilding. Ron Remzeski. I have no objections to this. I'm sure it will be done well and only add to their property and the values of others around there. Carol Eggert and Bonnie Eggert, or Carl Eggert and Bonnie Eggert. I have no objections to this. It is his land. He should be able to build what he wants. Edwin DeBoer. The town board. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have one other no objection, no comments. Catherine Severin. The town board has not heard this conditional use permit in that their town meeting was pushed back until the 20th of April. In conversations with legal counsel regarding this, it would be appropriate still for this committee to take action, but be it one of the conditions, if there was to be an approval made, that would also be subject to town board approval, which is required by the zoning ordinance. And if Rebecca wants to reiterate that, she certainly can, but that is all.
Okay, Rebecca, do you want to chime in?
Sure. Jay is correct that I advise that the committee can move forward with review and approval, but obviously that approval will be conditioned upon town approval because that's necessary under your ordinances. The one thing I will add is if the committee wishes to have more comments or considerations from the town or issues that they may raise, it would also be appropriate for the committee to defer its decision to a date certain, or essentially postpone your action until you did have town comments. So either one of those options is acceptable.
Okay. All right. I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 21-004.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to go into public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Darlene and Michael Friend, are you here? Okay. State your name to us for the record, please.
My name is Mike Friend, and I am the owner of this. And I have been to the Bass Lake Town Committee for planning. And so we did meet with them 2 weeks ago, and they will be presenting their no objections to it, because the only condition that they had after we talked about it was that we follow all the requirements and recommendations of this committee as per the conditional use and the permit. So we are limited on space, and that we are growing out of the ability to store everything within my garage. So I would like to have a storage building and have it close by to where we're at. The town road is not a paved road. It is a dirt road, and we've already received the approval for a driveway on that side of the property as well from the town. So yes, we're just waiting to see how this committee will vote in our direction, and we'd like to be able to progress.
Committee, do you have any questions for the applicant? Dawn, Jesse, do you?
I guess my only question is Mr. Friend said that he spoke with the town committee and they said that they had no objections. Was that just kind of off the record? Because it sounds like they haven't had an official meeting yet. Can you clarify that?
Yes, I can clarify that. They do have a planning committee meeting of which I attended as part of the Bass Lake town structure. So they like everybody to be present at a planning committee meeting before they send it to and put it on the agenda for the town board. So I did follow that requirement of meeting with their planning committee in an official text, and it should be documented within their minutes of their decision and what they plan to present to the board.
Okay, thank you.
I have nothing.
Do have a hand raised as well online. Who is it? It's Phil, and now he just disappeared. Oh, there he is. Never mind.
Bill, go ahead. Hello, Bill.
You'll have to unmute, Phil.
Got it. There we go.
There, now we can hear you.
Well, it feels like this house when I talk and nobody pays any attention to me. Anyway, but they appeared at the Bass Lake Planning Committee, heard their application and recommended approval to the town board. And the only condition that they were concerned about was to make sure that all elements of the Collier County zoning ordinance would be complied with, and I'm sure Jay will make sure of that. So, and because of the way our town board got pushed off till next week, why there was a written recommendation from the planning committee to approve this to the town board. So, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Any more?
Don't see any more hands raised online.
Okay, all right. Need a motion to come out of public hearing?
You may just want to ask if anyone is in.
Oh, yes. Does anybody else out there want to speak on this conditional use permit? Anybody out there want to talk in opposition of this permit? Okay, no, there you go. Get a motion to come out of public hearing.
I'll move about a public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion. We have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries to come out of public hearing.
Well, just one second. Discussion action for Town of Bass Lake conditional use permit number 21-004, legal description previously read in record. This is permit desired for an accessory building 16 by 30 in size across a town road from a dwelling subject to section 4.26 parent 2, which would require grantal of a conditional use permit, which would also require town approval. And please make mention of that if certain conditions were going to be placed on this. Thank you.
All right, committee?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Jay, did you visit this property to determine that they couldn't build on the principal residence property?
I did. I did do a drive-by out there. It was somewhat difficult to see exactly how that sewer system laid out there, but we do have records of where that sewer system is placed. And with that and the road setbacks as indicated on this map with their other accessory buildings that they already have, there wouldn't be room to fit it in unless they jammed it right next to the house up in this corner, which even then it may be within the 10-foot setback requirement of the drain field.
Okay.
So in my determination, it would not fit on that side of this lot.
In your professional.
Professional opinion,
Very
yes.
good.
Thanks, Steve.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the conditional use permit application subject to approval by the Bass Lake Town Board.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion in a second on the floor to approve the CUP going off what the town recommendation would be. So any more discussion? Okay, if not, Kathy, can we get a roll call, please?
John Pettit,
Yes.
Jesse Betcher,
Yes.
Stacy Hessel,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
Bruce Paulson.
Yes,
Thank you. All in favor?
Okay,
you need a finding of fact.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Finding of fact would be, that would be not damaging to the rights, property rights of others, and it is consistent with the Sawyer County relative zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Moving on, this is a public hearing in the town of Edgewater, conditional use permit number 21-005 for the reclamation plan for a non-metallic mine. Owner is DDS Real Estate LLC, the southeast one quarter of the southeast one quarter, section 30, township 37 north, range 9 west, parcel 008-937-30-4401, 40 total acres zoned agricultural 1. Again, permit is desired for the expansion of a non-metallic mining operation, mineral extraction operation, including rock crusher and hot mix plant. Again, this portion of the conditional use permit, though, is just specifically looking at the reclamation plan. This is a new application, including the 40 total acres, where there's already an existing gravel pit operation on, but this portion of the 40 acres does not have an approved conditional use permit nor a reclamation plan. As per the staff report for the reclamation plan, the request again is the permit issuance of the reclamation plan for 6 new acres of the total 40 acres listed from the legal description as previously read into record. The applicant is requesting to open a new non-metallic mineral extraction operation on the property. There is an existing operation already on this property, but these would be separate operations on the same parcel. Per the NR 135 requirements, before approval can be granted for a conditional use process and operation, the regulatory authority, being the county, needs to approve the applicant's reclamation plan, which is attached. The Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Department has reviewed the reclamation summary and concludes that the plan is consistent with the standards specified in NR 135. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee, being the regulatory authority, may approve, conditionally approve, or deny the reclamation plan. As per the town, they probably heard this all as one. And I will at least read the town's portion, again, specifically related to the reclamation plan. Motion was approved. Pete Baraboo, chairman, Bill Zimmer, supervisor. Signed with no additional comments, Natalie Clements, town clerk. That is all.
okay. All right, can I get a motion to go into public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into public hearing on CUP number 21-005. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries to go into public hearing. Our DDS Real Estate here. Would you come up? You want to tell us, state your name, please, for the record?
Hi, I'm Derek Smith, owner of DDS Real Estate. We're just trying to expand the pit for my own use in there, just outside the leased area that's already there. So we're just trying to make it where I can start using it, I guess.
Again, this portion is still just for the reclamation plan.
The proposed area of new mining, is that forested?
No,
No, not forested.
it's open ground.
So you'll just replant it with various grasses rise and things like that.
We were going more like just natural, whatever, the grass and to make it more wooded and stuff later on,
The plan, I think, says rye and other
Yeah.
grasses, but your intent is to really restore it back to the natural state,
Correct.
vegetation wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Dawn, Mr. Betcher?
I have no questions.
Nor do I.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, is there anybody out there that would like to speak in favor of the CUP? Okay.
Seeing
Anybody?
no hands.
Okay, does anybody out there want to speak against the CUP?
I have a hand raised.
Okay, who is it?
Linda Zimmer.
Go ahead, Ms. Zilmer.
Good morning, committee. Just wanted to clarify that right now you're acting on the reclamation plan and not the CUP. So I
Yep.
believe that's what you're addressing, just to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no more? Need a motion to come out of public hearing?
I'll move to come out of public hearing.
Anybody?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Discussion action, Town of Edgewater, conditional use permit number 21-005 for the reclamation plan. Owners DDS Real Estate LLC, legal description is previously read into record. Again, this committee then has the ability as the regulatory authority to approve the reclamation plan subject to the general compliance requirements of NR 135. The approval may not include conditions that are not related to the reclamation plan. Other conditions may be added during the public hearing process for the location and plan of operation. One of the required conditions in approved reclamation plan shall be for the new mine to obtain financial assurance pursuant to NR 135.40.
Okay. Committee?
Just a question, Jay.
Yes.
If I read the reclamation plan, it looks like cover crops are going to be rye and oats and winter wheat and winter rye. Have I misread that?
I'll let Pat answer that one.
I do believe what is being referenced there as rye and oats and winter wheat, those are all annual seeding. So would be used as a temporary cover crop. If the operator chooses to use that, those aren't to be used as permanent seeding. When final reclamation is performed, you can use a mixture of annual and perennial seed mix. The annual to establish a quick vegetation layer, and then the perennial seed to have that final cover crop in there.
In the plan, it specifically says that the ultimate goal is to restore it with natural and native grasses. Okay.
Yep, that's what's specified in here. And there's, several different
Correct.
species of plants that are listed in this plan.
Yeah, no, I noticed that in the plan, there's a native seed mixtures included in it, but it's specific that we will ultimately get back to natural grasses.
Correct.
Yes.
Native grasses.
Correct.
Okay. All right, what's your pleasure, committee?
I will move to approve the conditional use. Is this a conditional use permit?
It's a
or just
conditional use permit for the reclamation.
reclamation?
plan.
Reclamation,
And Rebecca has her hand up as well.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Did you get a second to your motion?
No,
Okay,
I'll
go ahead.
second that.
I'm gonna second it,
Okay,
so we can have discussion.
okay. Jay, can you just clarify, the current use right now it's zoned A1, but there is no specific agricultural use, correct? Or there's no other agricultural use?
There are some open farm fields there. Yes.
Okay.
The
I just-
entire 40 acres is not a farm field though, but there are some, I would assume, some crops that are harvested from that portion.
Okay, because pursuant to NR 135, 19 sub, what is that, sub 3, I believe. We just want to make sure that the reclamation plan includes any restoration to current agricultural uses. That is a specific carve out of NR 135-19.
And we just need to put that in our finding of facts, Rebecca?
Yeah, as a condition of the approval of the reclamation plan, and it's appropriate to, to defer that review to staff. I'm sure that Mr. Brown is well aware of these requirements, but I just wanted to point those out, given that this is currently A1 zoning.
So motion to approve in a second.
Yep, you made the motion, okay. Any more discussion on this? Jesse? Ms. Pettit?
I have nothing.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. All right, Kathy, can we do a roll call, please?
Jesse Betcher,
Yes.
Stacy Hessel,
Yes.
Ron Buckholtz,
Yes.
Bruce Paulson,
Yes.
Dawn Pettit,
Yes.
all in favor.
Finding of facts, can I insert finding of facts that it would have to comply with all of the provisions of NR 135?
Yes, you could.
It would, I will insert that in my requirement as well as it would not be damaging to the rights of others of property values.
That should work.
And what was that with the NR 135?
Subject to all provisions of NR 135.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, a public hearing, the Town of Edgewater Conditional Use Permit number 21-005, owner DDS Real Estate LLC, the southeast one quarter, the southeast one quarter, section 30, township 37 north, range 9 west, parcel 008-937304401, 40 total acres, zoned agricultural 1. Permit is desired for a new non-metallic mining operation, including mineral extraction, including rock crusher and hot mix plant. This is a new application, including the 40 acres from the previous owner, Derek Smith, and is now doing business as DDS Real Estate. Again, there currently is another active conditional use permit for a location and operation for mineral extraction on this same property, listed as conditional use permit number 19-037. That conditional use permit from 2019 was taken out by the same owner of the property, but the existing CUP is leased out to a different operator acting as the agent for conditional use permit number 19-037. In conversations with the owner, they were wanting to open up a separate operation on the same property with a different operator. In this case, the owner of the property would also be the operator. In essence, there'd be two separate conditional use permits on the same parcel of land. At a time that the owner would terminate the lease with the other operator, we would propose combining of these conditional use permits, but would advise keeping them separately at this point, and that they should be viewed as two separate operations and that there are two separate operators. Previously, the public hearing for conditional use permit 21-005 was for the potential approval of the reclamation plan subject to NR 135, which was approved. The property is 40 total acres, with the actual mine site identified as 6 acres and shown on the included maps in this packet. For section 6.23, parent 2 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, this would require any rock crushing and hot mix plant operation to be located greater than 1,000 feet from another residence not by the same owner. The 1,000 foot setback is just for the crushing operation, but not the actual mine site, as that could be within closer setbacks unless conditioned for approval by this zoning committee. The existing use in this area is one other gravel pit, a woodland area, mixed agricultural and mixed residential, with the nearest residence roughly 600 feet away. Again, the crusher and the hot mix plant, though, would need to be located 1,000 feet away from other adjacent residents, not your own residence. As per conditions of an approved reclamation plan, financial assurance would be required in the amount of $1,500. The applicant must provide payment of assurance prior to any excavation. The specific hours of operation are 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday during the construction season, with the option to operate 24 hours a day, 3 to 4 days in a row, as long as the neighbors are contacted with the days and hours. Crushing 2 to 3 times per year for 2 to 4 weeks at a time. Asphalt plant hours 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. These would be the same hours for all the operation aspects as were approved for the adjacent operation under conditional use permit number 19-037, which is the same property. And I will certainly ask or answer any other questions you may have, but again, we'll have to open up a separate public hearing and go through that process. That is all. Actually, no, let me read the opinion letters. I didn't do that. The town did approve, which I had mentioned before, signed Pete Baraboo, Chairman, Bill Zimmerman, Supervisor. No additional comments signed, Natalie Clements, Town Clerk. There were 13 opinion letters sent out, 3 were returned, 2 no objections, 1 with objections. I have no objections to this. Malin or Helen Schmidt. I have no objections to this. Mark Jellick. I have objections to this. If this was only a non-metallic mining operation, it would be fine, but he has piled a large amount of garbage back there and then dug a trench along my property line to let the garbage water flow directly into my freshwater ponds. I'm sure this is not legal. John Christensen. That is all.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 21-005.
I'll make that.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second to go into public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed, motion carried to go into public hearing. Okay, sir, you want to talk on this one also? Sure, state your name again, please.
Derek Smith. Yeah, I guess, what do you, I mean, I don't know what that complaint was there. I don't know what, where there's garbage or a trench, I guess. I don't know what to even comment on that one, but.
So you don't have garbage in a trench?
No.
On property?
No, there's a stump pile there, you know, stumps and brush.
Right.
No garbage, no wood of any kind there. And as far as a trench, I guess we haven't dug nothing in the pit. I mean, and the prior, or the people that I have the lease haven't been in the pit for quite some time too. So I guess I don't know on that part there.
Okay, would we know about that?
That was news to me as well. I actually just gave that to Pat and I'm going to have him go out and investigate that. But I've never observed anything like that in this location. He may be referring to garbage as stumps, but that is an illegal practice, or I'm sorry, a legal practice.
Right. Okay. Does Pat have a comment?
No, I'm just reviewing some pictures. The last time I was on that site was approximately a year ago. At that time, there was no observed trench, any trash. We've never had any issues with this pit. Previous landowners, current landowner, current operator. So I don't know what this is addressing this complaint. It will be investigated, but.
There's only one thing that I could think of is that they did crush some concrete in there and there's rebar there, but that's in kind of the center of the pit that needs to be hauled out to recycle center. I haven't got to that. So I mean, just a pile of metal, you know, rebar just that come out of the concrete. So, but that isn't even close to the property line or nothing there.
Okay. Any more questions for the applicant?
You're okay with the hours of operations?
We basically just mirrored what the lessees are, just so there's no conflict there with the hours that they propose and the hours that we're proposing. We left it the same, just so there wasn't confusion at who was doing what in there. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay.
I do have one thing. Bruce, do you want to, can you turn your mic on? I had someone say that they weren't able to hear you. That one must be on, maybe this one.
Want this one, Mr.?
Okay.
It's on? It's on.
I just got a message saying that it was hard to hear Mr.
Okay.
Paulson.
All right,
That's
Mr.
all.
Paulson. Okay, he's right. All right.
Okay, is there anybody out there would like to speak in favor of this CUP? Anybody out there that wants to speak in opposition of the CUP?
We do have one hand raised.
Yes, ma'am. Come up and state your name here.
We do have a hand raised online as well.
Okay. Come up to the podium, ma'am. State your name. And then we're gonna give you 3 minutes, not 3 seconds, 3 minutes.
Before the time starts, I just want to make sure I'm on the right deal here. Is this number 84 to 94 in Round Lake?
No.
Okay, so
Okay, all right.
We do have a hand raised online as well.
Okay, who is it?
Linda Zilmer.
Go ahead, Ms. Zilmer. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not speaking in favor of or opposition to. I have 2 items. First of all, a clarification. Is hauling in of concrete and crushing it and separating out the rebar permissible in a gravel pit? But secondly, with regard to the town board's recommendation and the ability of neighbors and the public to weigh in at the town level, my comment right now applies to this Edgewater matter, other Edgewater applications, and the campground ordinance amendment, all of them. The town of Edgewater has a public notice out there that would lead the public to expect that they would hold their regular meeting on April 20th. There was nothing to suggest to the public that they would be holding a special meeting, which they really provide barely 24-hour notices of on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So when you weigh the town's opinion of the 2 supervisors, please be cognizant that it is unlikely that the neighbors or the public knew that the town was holding a meeting to consider these matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else out there that wish to speak in opposition of this CUP? If not, make a motion to come out of public hearing, please.
I'll move to come out of public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed. Motion carries to come out of public hearing.
This is discussion action, Town of Edgewater conditional use permit number 21-005, owner DDS Real Estate LLC. Legal description is previously read into record. This permit is desired for the expansion. Actually, again, a new non-metallic mining operation, including rock crusher and hot mix plant. That is all.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the staff.
Yes.
The conditional use permit we granted and renewal in 2019, are there any conditions attached to those?
1 second. Motion to approve application by Paulson with conditions, maintain requirements of NR 135, maintain operation plan, the NR Chapter 30, and all applicable laws. Second, Bassett, all in favor.
All right, thank you.
And again, these hours of operation as included in the plan of operation would have been the same as for the conditional use permit that was granted in 2019.
And you were approving these as separate?
Yes,
CUPs? Okay.
in that they would be 2 separate operators, in that the current owner, Mr. Smith, has a lease to that separate operator that runs kind of on the east side of the property. His would be more centrally located. Again, his mine site is identified as being 6 acres. If Mr. Smith was to ever terminate the lease with the current operator who has the operation occurring on the east side of the property, we would want to kind of get these all under one conditional use permit, which would be done through a renewal process at that time frame.
Okay, thanks. Okay, committee.
Mr. Chairman, I will approve the application for the conditional use permit, subject to full compliance with NR 135 and all of the other applicable laws, including the Natural Resources, Chapter 30.
He wouldn't have to put that in his motion about that, though.
I'll second that.
Oh, I like it. It's conditions as part of the motion.
No, I mean, when the two, the two have to come together at one time, later down the road.
No, you wouldn't need to condition
All right, just
that.
want to make sure, okay. Oh, go ahead, Bruce, sorry.
I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you.
Jesse seconded.
okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call. Kathy?
Stacy Hessel.
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Bruce Paulson.
Yes.
Don Pettit.
Yes.
Jesse Betcher.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor. Findings.
Okay, finding of facts, not be damaging to the rights of others or property values, and it would be consistent with the existing use on a portion of this property.
Thank you. Moving on to a public hearing, the Town of Winter, conditional use permit number 20-006. Owner of the First Temple of Universal Law, the southwest one quarter, the northeast one quarter, section 25, township 40 north, range 5 west, parcel 032-540-25-1301, total of 40 acres, zoned residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for a multi-dwelling development as section 17.2, parent B, parent 15 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance with a conditional use approval. As per the staff report, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for a multi-dwelling development to then add a new bunkhouse on the property described above. Looking at the history of this property as a whole, this is a church-owned property that has 13 existing habitable dwellings on it since the early 1970s, over the entire 120 acres that is owned by the church. Since multiple existing habitable dwellings exist on this 40-acre parcel in question, 4 of them would be existing, it is in the opinion of the Sawyer County zoning administrator that in order to approve an additional dwelling unit in the form of a bunkhouse, subject to the requirements of section 4.26 parent 4, that approval of a multi-dwelling development conditional use permit would be needed. The applicant would still need to meet all the requirements as specified in 4.26 parent 4 for a bunkhouse. In order to install an additional dwelling unit, or in this case to retroactively permit the existing 4 dwelling units that have been there in existence, plus the additional bunkhouse, you would need a minimum of 20,000 square feet per each dwelling unit. With a parcel consisting of over 40 acres, the multi-dwelling development would meet this criteria. As per section 17.2, parent B, parent 15, for the multi-dwelling development, this would be for a new condominium, hotel, motel, resort, or other development, which is in the same general scale and character. It was also determined by the Sawyer County zoning administrator that this type of development would be in that same general scale and character. It should be noted that this conditional use permit would only be granted for the placement of 1 additional dwelling unit in the form of the bunkhouse on this parcel as indicated as part of the request. If additional dwelling units are proposed, another CUP must be granted. Discussions should occur between the zoning committee members that if they would entertain additional CUP requests for this type of development, or if the property owner or the applicant would need to eventually apply for a state or county subdivision plat. That in an additional development occurs, this type of plat procedure would be better suited for that type of development. As per the town, they ended up tabling this decision. Excuse me, Ronald Fandry, supervisor, Terry Pettigrew, supervisor, Ronald Barnaby, chairman. As per the comments, board requested more information from the applicant. We'll revisit at our May 12th, 2021 meeting. I do believe the applicants had shown up a little bit late and they had already moved past their agenda item until they were able to have discussions with that town board. There were 3 opinion letters sent out. 2 were returned. This one has a separate box, what they said conditional approvals to. For my conversations with Jay Kozlowski on March 31st, this conditional appeal is for 1 new construction only. Any future units will need additional condition use authorization, or a subdivision plan must be developed. I'm okay with 1 unit, but if the end game is to add more than 4 new units, then the cards need to be on the table. The county code refers to the general scale and character of those considerations should extend to the neighborhood. A mass development out here lacks the infrastructure and services that would not fit. Signed, John Kelly. He wrote another one, as well as that he has multiple property owners with different forms of ownership. And again, see attached comments, signed John Kelly, trustee for the George's Lake Family Trust. That is all.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 20-006.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to go into public hearing on CUP number 20-006. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're in public hearing. So is there a representative here to speak on this? No? Okay.
Is there someone online that would be a representative for the First Temple Universal Law that would like to speak in favor of this application? You would need to raise your hand.
No?
Don't see him.
Is there anybody that would like to speak in opposite or for this CUP? Is there anybody out there that would like to speak in opposition of this CUP? None? Okay,
Don't see any.
all right, need a motion to come out of public hearing?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
A second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, motion carries to come out of public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, oh, you have to read your stuff. Okay. go
Sure.
ahead.
Discussion action for the Town of Winter Conditional Use Permit 20-006, owner of the First Temple of Universal Law. Legal description is previously read into record. Again, this permit is desired for a multi-dwelling development as section 17.2, parent B, parent 15 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance would require further granting of a conditional use permit.
Mr. Chairman? I have
Yes.
a Question for
Yes,
Mr.
go ahead.
Jay. Can you give us a little background here? I mean, it sounds like it's a new construction, but we've got some existing buildings that also need to be included?
Yes, let me get to the aerial. So the church, as you have shown up here, that church-owned property are these 440-acre parcels.
Right.
The specific request for this additional dwelling unit in the form of a bunkhouse for this one will be located in that southwest 40-acre parcel.
Right.
Looking at previous aerial photography for this property, these existing dwelling units have been placed and in existence prior to the zoning ordinance change that would have only allowed 1 dwelling unit per parcel, which would have been in the mid-80s. Most of this development was done back in the 70s, which includes 14 dwelling units, as well as a community church.
Okay.
Certainly this is a little unique of a scenario, one that I have not seen before. I was aware of this out there, and as long as no additional dwelling units were occurring, they wouldn't need to retroactively approve a conditional use permit, and that they would be considered existing non-conforming. Since they're wanting to now add an additional dwelling unit, that would trigger them needing approval for a conditional use permit, or going through the route, as I'd stated, that a state or county subdivision plat. When you have a developmental pattern like this, where you have all these dwelling units, that's generally what the rules and regulations would kind of guide us to go, is through a subdivision plat. Now, if there was just for one additional dwelling unit, that is why we ran this through as a conditional use permit at this point.
Is this a camp?
From my knowledge, this is a church retreat, and that
That's
when you're a member of the congregation for a certain time frame, the church gives you what they've designated as individual plats of land on this church-owned property. Now, those plats of land have never been approved or accepted by the county or the state as an official subdivision map, but they give them a designated internal church plat in which a member of the congregation can then proceed to build a cabin or a dwelling out there.
Yeah, I know where this is.
Yeah.
Okay. And
They do have compliant sewer systems. We've been out there and they've done some new sewer system installs over the years. But again, that wouldn't trigger any zoning committee approvals.
so, and the town is deferred action?
The town has tabled. They wanted additional information, and I believe it's because the applicants weren't present at that meeting.
Right. Well, I guess I know Mr. Barnaby pretty well. He's a very thorough fellow.
Yes.
And I guess I would just make a motion to postpone until the town makes their decision.
I'll second that motion.
Can I interject?
Now you can.
Just
Go ahead, Ms. Pettit.
I'm the supervisor for this end down here, and I'm just gonna call it for what it is. This is an establishment that has gotten around having to go through the proper protocol. And basically they're just putting cabins where willy-nilly where they want, or if they give parcels, that's what's going to happen. It's individuals on the basis of, we'll make it a church. From my understanding is we'll make it a church. We'll be able to put as many buildings as we want. There'll be nothing they can do about it. And we can have as whatever we need to do there. We don't have to do anything else. Because based on where it came from in the 70s, it was supposedly a bunch of hunting buddies that originally did it. And it was put in as underneath the guise of a church, not have to do anything else. So if anybody else up here has to go through the zoning protocol to put cabins up onto their land and to parcel out their land, this property should have to also. That's all I'm getting. And I know that it cannot support, there is not infrastructure to support it. That road already floods and it's underneath water half the time during the spring and then when we have summer and it pours in thunderstorms. There is nothing. It's a gravel road. And it just seems that they want to just put up another building. And if they want to do a development, then they need to go through what they need to go through. That's all I have.
Thanks, Ms. Pettit.
And I should mention, since we are in discussion here, I did have a conversation with the town assessor on this matter as well, and that the individual structures out there are being assessed for tax purposes. But be it that the property or the land is in the ownership of the church, there are some exemptions for taxes on the land currently. Yeah, Rebecca has her hand up as well.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Thank you. Jay, can you clarify that the existing dwellings are on the tax parcel 1201 and the proposed is on 1301?
Yeah, so there's actually a total, and I don't have the best copied map right now to show all the dwellings, but there's actually about 4 dwellings on the far north side. I don't know if you can see my screen that I have up right now. There's 4, if not 5 dwellings right along Universal Drive on the north side of the property. Then there's a mix of additional, anywhere from 9 to 10 of them along this private driveway that comes in. The proposed location for the new dwelling, which is in the form of the bunkhouse, would be in the parcel ending in 1301 and would be located near that wetland pond there are 4 other dwellings on that 40-acre parcel that, again, because how that parcel line divides, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 dwelling units already on that parcel. So again,
Okay.
this was somewhat of a difficult and confusing scenario to try to draft appropriate language for this specific conditional use permit request.
Okay. So 1301, just using 1301 and 1201
Yep.
as the examples, they're owned by the same entity, but legally they are separate parcels, correct?
Separate tax parcels, yes. It's all one lot, and that the lot contains the 4 40-acre tax parcels.
Okay, so if I were to look at a deed for all of the property that the church owns, all of that is on one single owned parcel, correct?
I believe so. I'd have to double check and verify, but I would imagine that if the church had a deed, the deed would include all 4 40-acre parcels.
Okay, because I don't think we need to belabor this point now, and I certainly don't want to take up the committee's time. But if, when we're speaking of tax parcel numbers versus actual ownership parcels, that can make a difference in the overall legal analysis. So I wanted to point that out. And then also, speaking to Supervisor Pettit's comments, again, we don't have to go into detail, but just to speak to the generally the religious exemption from compliance with zoning, there are legal standards and there are legal requirements setting forth an analysis of what a religious organization has to comply with versus doesn't have to comply with. Now, certainly religious organizations, you know, are entitled to a somewhat different constitutional analysis in certain situations. Our courts have ruled on the extent to which a zoning application process has to be complied with, by a religious organization. And I can go into that in more detail if you like, but generally speaking, simply because you have a religious organization as an applicant does not automatically mean that that organization does not have to comply with local zoning. So for, you know, any folks out there who think, hey, we'll be a church or we'll call ourselves a religious organization, does not mean that that organization automatically does not have to comply with county zoning.
Rebecca, I got a question for you on this. Then would you like to have time to go over this? I mean, we made a motion to and seconded to postpone it. Would you like to look into that and give us more info when it comes back?
With respect to the religious exemption, I don't think so at this point in time, because it's my understanding that the organization hasn't raised that question. If they were to, certainly I could give you more information. I just wanted to speak more to Supervisor Pettit's comment, because I think that that is at least in my experience, it is kind of a frequent inconsistent notion that if you put yourself forward as a religious organization that you don't have to comply with local land use. Again, that's a common misperception. So I just wanted to make that more clear.
Yeah, well, we're still in discussion. If you want to go into that a little more, you're welcome to.
Would you like me to, Mr. Chairman? I certainly.
I would.
Okay.
It'll take forever, but.
No, I'll try to go quick. I will not give you a whole constitutional analysis of religious exemptions or. I
would like to hear.
First of all, I'll skip over federal and I'll just look at state, because that's you know, an applicant, if they were raising a religious exemption argument, could certainly make the claim under both the federal constitution and the state constitution, but we'll stick with the state constitution for brevity of time. So if a religious organization were to argue that it is not subject to county zoning, there's 2 standards of proof. Number 1, the county would have to establish that it has a compelling state interest sufficient to justify the burden of the zoning application, or the ask, if you will. What is it the county is asking that applicant to do? Again, so the county would have to prove a compelling county governmental interest. The applicant would also, to be successful, the applicant would then have to prove that it has a sincerely held religious belief that would be burdened by the county enforcement. So you have kind of a dual requisite of proof. And that the applicant's proof is also based on sufficient basis. So the applicant would have to prove with a sufficient basis that its sincerely held religious beliefs would be burdened by enforcement of the zoning ordinance. So to use this current applicant, the county would have to prove that it has a compelling state interest sufficient to justify the burden. Now, in looking at the ordinances and the requirements that Jay has talked about, I think you do have that burden met, that the county has established a sufficient interest to set forth these requirements. By looking at the record as a whole, I think you have sufficient facts there. On the flip side, if the applicant were arguing a sufficient or a religious exemption, which they haven't argued, but if they were, they would have to establish by sufficient basis that they have a sincerely held religious belief that would be burdened by the county's enforcement. And because they haven't made that argument, we don't have those facts in front of us. So if they were, we could, have a more in-depth discussion on the weighing of all of those different factors. So in summary, yes, there are different components that the county would have to look to if an applicant was arguing a religious exemption from zoning. But I think in this case, the county has established it has a compelling interest by sufficient basis, so it's acceptable for the county to move ahead. I don't see any constitutional violations in this matter based on what has been presented.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
this is Supervisor Pettit. Thank you, Rebecca, for clarifying that. It was because this is what I had been hearing because of when it was originally placed out there in the 70s and then incorporated in the 80s. So I wanted a clarification, and that is part of why I brought it up, is so individuals that were questioning this, or this is what was being stated, we could get a clarification on it. So individuals don't think that we're just being willy-nilly on some of these things and what we have to follow and what the rule of the law is. So thank you very much for doing an excellent job on clarifying it.
You're welcome. And it's kind of a good opportunity too to have this very generalized discussion on religious exemptions, because at least in my experience, the committee hasn't had that before. And it is obviously very important from a legal perspective that, the county obviously has to comply with constitutional requirements. And when we start talking about religious exemptions, those are obviously very important components to consider. But it is a frequent, at least in my experience, I have seen it in other counties and in other municipalities where applicants or folks who are looking at doing land redevelopment, they will argue, yes, we're a religious organization and therefore we're exempt. It's a similar sort of analysis to somebody holding ownership in an entity based on the blanket presumption that they can avoid all liability just because they're in a business entity. No, there are some exceptions to that. And again, obviously very important from a constitutional standpoint and also very much more detailed than what I've presented, and hopefully that's a good overview.
Cecil, go ahead.
Chairman, if we've tabled this, why are we giving it so much conversation?
Because we're in discussion and
Okay.
we have to have a discussion on
Vote on the motion to table.
it. Yep, you made a motion and I seconded.
Yeah, okay, so we haven't voted on it yet.
No,
We're still discussing. Okay.
still discussing. So
Well-
now,
May I have one more
yeah, go ahead.
comment?
Sure.
Mr. Jay, you mentioned a couple different alternatives. I guess what I would like to see when this comes back, if the town approves it, that you give us specific details and what your recommendation is and
Sure.
why.
Yep,
Thank
I
you.
can certainly do that.
Perfect.
Or I can explain it now, either way.
Well,
No,
I
okay.
guess
I'll explain it at
if
the
the-
time.
if the town
If this
defeats
motion
it-
carries, I'll explain it at that time, at that date certain that this comes back.
Yeah, at the date certain when it comes back. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, we have.
I have
motion and a sec- Oh, go ahead, Mr. Betcher.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. So just to clarify, I heard that the original motion was to postpone and then I heard it change to table. I just don't know if we need to clarify that verbiage or if it means exactly the same thing.
I thought
And-
it was
and the other-
postponed.
Yeah,
Postpone.
Postpone, sorry,
I
I said
postpone.
table. I think that was my error. Postpone
And then,
until the town has heard.
Bruce and I
The other thing,
made the motion to postpone it, and I second to postpone it, Mr. Betcher.
Which, again, I
Okay.
guess at this date certain would be our May zoning committee meeting.
Right.
Because I'm,
My date certain was when the town considers and
okay.
we get it back from them.
okay, the only other comment I had on that, and again, not to belabor it, but it almost sounds like there's trying to circumvent some current zoning ordinances. And by using that verbiage of a bunkhouse, I just want to make sure that we'll fit within the parameters of what we define as a bunkhouse based on the, size restrictions and stuff like that for a residential unit. I think it's maybe 500 feet. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Betcher. Okay, any more? Kathy, can we do roll call on this, please?
Stacy Hessel,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
Bruce Paulson,
Yes.
Dawn Pettit,
Yes.
Jesse Betcher.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor.
Do you want to dive into the next one right away, or do you want to take a little recess? I
let's-
know, Jesse, you had talked to me before the meeting that you may have some other obligations you need to go through. I would imagine this next public hearing may take some time to get through.
That is correct. Do you estimate it will take more than an hour? I can stay probably one more hour.
Looking at the amount of people that are here present in person, I would say that would be taking longer than an hour.
Okay, I mean, this is in my district, so it's kind of important to me. I will, I'll try to stay. I'll try to stay for more than an hour.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. All right, we're gonna take a 10-minute break.
10 minutes. Boy, you give us a long time.
To our meeting.
Session here.
We're in session right now.
All right.
Jay, before you, I want to speak a little bit before you.
Sure, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this one that's coming up on this town of Round Lake, with all the people that we have wanting to speak, we are going to limit to your 3 minutes. And we want you to stick to the facts and stuff. And once your 3 minutes is done, we're going to stop you because there's just too many of them we got to go through. And we don't want to stay overnight here. Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is very similar in that this is for a new operation. So when we have a new operation, we first hear the reclamation plan, and then we hear for the location operation. So again, this public hearing in the town of Round Lake for conditional use permit number 21-007, owner Greshel Trust, agent Select Materials LLC, Daryl Mast, is in the southeast 1/4, the northwest 1/4, section 12, township 41 north, range 8 west, parcel 024-841-122401, 5 total acres as shown in a 40-acre parcel, zone forestry 1. Again, this permit is for the reclamation plan. This is then pursuant to NR 135, reclamation insurance for the location and operation for the non-metallic mining open pit. As part of the staff report, again, this permit issuance is for the reclamation plan. The applicant is requesting to open a new non-metallic mining extraction on the property described. Per the reclamation plan provided, the area is only showing 5 acres. If expansion was to occur, a new updated reclamation plan would need to be approved. Per the NR 135 requirements, before approval can be granted for the conditional use operation, that process, the regulatory authority being the county, needs to approve the applicant's reclamation plan, which is attached. Stark County Zoning and Conservation Department has reviewed the reclamation summary and concludes the plan is consistent with the standards specified in NR 135. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee, being the regulatory authority, may approve, conditionally approve, or deny the reclamation plan. All these opinion letters, I would imagine, are specifically related to the location and operation. I will leave it up to the chairman if they want to, hear this as the separate reclamation plan right now, which again, the reclamation plan is just looking at what the future land use is going to be. If a pit and operation is approved, this is how the property needs to be reclaimed over the lifetime of the mine. None of the information that I have seen from those individuals that have sent anything in had any objections with the actual reclamation plan. It had objections with the location and operation. So I just want to make that clear for everyone in the audience as well, that even if this committee hears and potentially approves a reclamation plan, that does not grant approval for a location and operation.
Okay. I guess what I'd like to ask the committee their opinion on it. Do you want to hear all that, or?
I think we should, my personal opinion is let's just dispense with the reclamation plan and then get to the meat of the agenda. That's what I would say.
Dispense with it as mean as hear it as such for the reclamation plan, or postpone approval of the reclamation plan after?
I would just, it's up to you, but we could take simple action, and then if we deny the conditional use permit, the reclamation plan becomes
right.
Because we're going to hear the same thing on both of these.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess as being the chair, I don't need to hear the reclamation plan.
What we could do, generally we would hear a reclamation plan first with the amount of individuals that have concerns with this. And Rebecca, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think an acceptable practice would be to table hearing this reclamation plan pending the outcome of the location operation. If location operation is approved, we do need to still approve an appropriate reclamation plan.
But that doesn't get us contrary to state law, where it said we have to approve it first.
I don't think so. I'll let Pat answer that. It's just what we've done as a policy prior to, is that we've always heard rec plans prior to the location operation.
Okay, I thought we had a legal obligation to hear it first.
Either that, or we can do the rec plan, have the applicant tell us what he wants, and we won't have anybody speak on the public hearing side of it until we get down to the the other plan. Would that work, Rebecca? Are we going the right way, or?
Yes, you can do that. Oh, somebody has me muted.
No, we hear you.
Oh, okay. I got a little sign that says I was muted. Sorry. Yes, you can do that. If you are to approve the conditional use and then jump back to the reclamation plan, just make sure that one of the conditions of the conditional use approval is approval of the reclamation plan.
I like that, Ron. I like that, Ron.
All right.
No, I'm good with
And then if you're jumping ahead, and Chairman, you can do that. You can make that decision to do that under your bylaws. We just have to make sure that we're still doing the public hearing for the conditional use permit, and then hearing doing the discussion item, because those are still two separate agenda items. So we just got to make sure we're skipping ahead to the right things on the agenda.
I guess what I'm asking though, if we go do this public hearing right now on this reclamation plan, and let the applicant speak on what he wants to tell us. And just have the people, the audience, not speak at that time and wait until we get down to the plan of operation. Is that legal? Or should
Well,
we go the way?
On your agenda, you have a public hearing for the reclamation plan. So folks who want to speak on the reclamation plan should render their comments on that agenda item. And I understand where it can be a big gray area to have crossover between the operations and the reclamation plan if, folks aren't, as familiar as with NR 135 as others may be. If you proceed in the public hearing on the reclamation plan to allow the applicant to speak, I would advise that you not limit that public comment to other members of the public. If you're going to go to the public hearing for the reclamation plan, you should go all in and not just.
All right. Thank
So
you.
we're just gonna flip these.
Postpone it until-
I need a motion for that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to postpone the discussion on the reclamation plan until we hear the conditional use permit for the gravel pit expansion.
Okay, everybody hear that?
I guess we need a second.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries to postpone until we hear the plan of operation.
All right, with that change, we will now, a public hearing in the town of Round Lake, conditional use permit number 21-007. Owner Greshel Trust, agent Select Materials LLC, operator Daryl Mast. The southeast one quarter, the northwest one quarter, section 12, township 41 north, range 8 west, parcel 024-841-122401. 5 total acre mine site on a 40-acre parcel, zone forestry 1. Permit desired for a non-metallic mine extraction operation, including rock crusher. As part of the staff report, this request for conditional use permit number 21-007 is for the location of a non-metallic mining extraction operation, including rock crusher. Previously, we postponed the reclamation plan until after this. The property is 40 total acres with an actual mine site as identified as 5 acres in the northwest corner of the property. Per section 6.23, parent 2 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, it would require any rock crushing operation to be located greater than 1,000 feet from any residence. With the attached maps included in this packet, you can see that the 5 acres identified for the mine site would be just greater than 1,000 foot minimum setback. In conversations with the operator, this would be for a potential phase 1 project with potential expansion of the mine site 5+ years later, while keeping any crushing operations beyond the 1,000 foot setback. Again, the 1,000 foot setback is just for any crushing operations, but the actual mine site could be at a closer setback unless conditioned for approval by the zoning committee. The existing use in this area is 4 other gravel pits, woodland area, and mixed residential, with the nearest residence 1,000 feet directly to the south of the proposed mine site and roughly 1,800 feet to the northeast. As per conditions of an approved reclamation plan, financial assurance would be required in the amount of $7,500 or $1,500 per acre. The applicant must provide assurance prior to any excavation. The specific hours of operation are 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday during the construction season, with occasional use of the pit occurring on Sunday as needed. Crushing hours as specified in the plan of operation are 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. between March 15th and December 15th. In conversations with the operator, they would amend these hours of the operation and crushing, which are shown below as possible conditions. The reason for amending these hours are to fit more in line with the other non-metallic mining operations occurring in this area. I generally don't read this portion, but I think it's a good one to have on here. Additional information for conditional use permits. Substantial evidence means facts and information other than merely personal preferences or speculation directly pertaining to the requirements and conditions an applicant must meet in order to obtain a conditional use permit, and that reasonable persons would accept in support of a conclusion. If an applicant agrees to meet all the requirements and conditions specified in a county ordinance or those imposed by the county zoning board, the county shall grant the conditional use permit. Any conditions imposed must be related to the purpose of the ordinance and are based on substantial evidence. These conditions must be reasonable and to the extent practical and measurable. The applicant must demonstrate that the application and all the requirements and conditions established by the county relating to the conditional use are or shall be satisfied, both of which must be supported by substantial evidence. The county's decision to approve or deny the permit must be supported by substantial evidence. Again, per the conversations with the operator, hours of operation would be amended to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday during the construction season. Crushing hours would be amended as to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 1 to 2 times per year at a 4 to 5 week crushing event interval between the March 15th and December 15th calendar year. As per the town board, motion was denied. Ralph Hansen, chairman. Virginia Chabeck, supervisor. Sharon Hack, supervisor. Kay Wilson, supervisor. Sandra Shara, supervisor. It would be damaging to the rights or others of property values. See attached analysis. It would create an air quality, water supply, or pollution problem. Also enclosed are letters received of the town relevant to the proposed gravel pit, signed Kathy McCoy, town clerk. I don't see that attached analysis right here, but I do have some other documents that do have that. As per the actual petition letters sent out by the Sawyer County Zoning Department, there were, again, this is for property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. There were 10 opinion letters sent out, 5 were returned. These I'll legally read into record. As this committee is aware, and certainly our office is aware, we've received an additional, I believe it's 44 letters of opposition. Again, 10 were sent out, 5 were returned, all 5 with objections. I have objections to this. Land and home value, noise, dust and dirt, possible water table damage, future plans, and hot asphalt plant. Donald Briggs. I have objections to this. I'm Dr. Edward Hagen. I live at 12382 Twin Lakes Road. My property connects to Jeffrey Greshel's property at the southern edge. I'm against the construction of the gravel pit on the Greschel property. The following are my reasons against the pit. Property values. With a pit nearby, the value of our property is reduced. Who wants to own a house next to a gravel pit? Opening a mining operation has significant effect on the property to anyone close to the pit. This should not be allowed to occur. As a landowner, I have to say on my property, and I have a say on my property and the destruction of its use. Noise. Presently, when the pit is crushing gravel, the noise and rumbling of the earth is very clear at my home, even with the present pits. They often start at 6 a.m. and go all day. When you have 4 active pits, can you imagine what it might sound like if they all crush rock at the same time? Another pit will add more noise. Smell. When the tar plant is operational and the wind blows out of the northwest, the smell of tar is pervasive. The only way to get away from this is to leave my home. Should someone be able to push you out of your own property? Dust. The constant motion of large loaders creates dust, and the beeping of backup warnings is a constant din. There would be 6 gravel pits in close proximity. The need for a 7th is negligible. A1, Thompson, Hirschfeld, Morotech 1 and 2 on Twin Lakes Road, and the proposed Darrell Mass pit. Land use restrictions. I can't build within 1,000 feet of a pit. This will affect my property values and restrictions of the use of the land for my purposes. The pit lies around 800 feet from my north property line. Expansion of gravel pits. No pit here has ever been reclaimed. All have expanded. Once they are here, expansion happens easily. A gravel pit is an open pit mine. They are ugly, and as they grow, they diminish land values and create issues with groundwater pollution. Reclamation. It seems that the reclamation is limited to sloping the edges of the pit. What about seepage, erosion, tree cover, flooding, mosquito protection? Production. Sorry, no one wants to protect them. Pure blight on the landscape. No such thing as a pretty gravel pit unless you are the one collecting $300 for every truck leaving it. Who would want your home adjacent to the sand pits in New Auburn? I think Round Lake Township should offer more regulations in existing pits and avoid the construction of new mining pits. We have more than our fair share in our neighborhood. Again, that was Ed Hagen. I have objections to this. The loud and disruptive rock crushing noise affects a person's way of life. Also, the noise would affect mine and my brother's pets, and the land value would be decreased. Kenneth Schultz. I have objections to this. We can already hear a gravel pit further away. We are also expecting a child, and the added noise will not be welcomed. Additionally, my living girlfriend works nights and sleeps during the day, and with the gravel pit hours of operation, it'll keep her awake during the same time that she sleeps. Darren Jensen. I have objections to this. My problem with the pit expansion is that they are allowed to expand the 5 acres now. Next year, they will want to expand again, and then the next year again. We already have 4 gravel pits in the area close by. The noise, dust, possible well water risk, my home, and 22 others nearby on Bethel Road. There are existing violations in the existing pit that nothing has been done about. Darlene Safinga. I believe that is all from the legal opinion letters that I would need to have sent out to property owners within 300 feet. Again, our office has received quite a bit of additional information and correspondence from those beyond the 300 feet. Again, specifically as to today's at 8 a.m. when we stopped taking in opinion letters, we had 44 additional correspondence turned in from property owners beyond 300 feet. We actually had 45. 44 of those were in objection. That is all. We have multiple hearing appearance slips, which I will get to after we get into public hearing.
All right. Okay, I need a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Round Lake CUP number 21-007. I heard a.
Go on, yeah. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into public hearing on CUP number 21-007. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're only going to give you the 3 minutes. And when your 3 minutes is up, we're going to cut you off because we just got too many to go through. Okay, Jamie's first.
Generally, we'd ask for
Oh,
the applicant.
The applicant. Is the applicant here? Would you come in and then speak to the committee, state your name?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jeff Drexel. I am the owner of this particular property. We own in total there about 158 acres. That he has up on the map there. And when I was approached for the potential to develop gravel on this property, I've been approached, we've owned it about 30 years. We've been approached the last 30 years to develop some resource. Daryl Haskins Select Industries approached us. We tried to design something that used my entire 58 acres and embedded this 5 acres, as you can see on the map. We attempted to put it against an adjacent pit, almost on the entire west side of my 158 acres. For a large portion of it is an existing gravel pit, I think referred to as the Thompson pit, which has been there. I owned the property 30 years. That pit was probably there 20 years before I owned the property. My northwest corner actually touches and borders the what's referred to, I think, as the Rotec pit and the Hirschfeld pit. What we sought to do with this 5-acre application was to try to embed this thing within my own property so that we weren't against an adjacent property line. It also was selected because of when we took GIS and created the 1,000-foot setback from the nearest adjacent homeowner. We put it as central into my property as was possible to minimize that. So the intent here is absolutely said it is. It's to have a 5-acre site developed within my property with the possibility to expand that, just as you read, over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But to do it in a manner that I don't mind coming back. I was one who put the restriction on select industries when they came to me to do this. But I wanted to start with a 5-acre parcel first, instead of doing an entire parcel, 40 acres. To first start with a small project, 5 acres, and show that if he could walk the walk with me, that he could conduct this gravel pit in a manner that was compliant with everything that he offered in his operating plan and in the reclamation. So that's how this got developed. So subsequently, when we heard people's comments at the town board meeting, we started an intensive search for data, for information, for facts. I believe the zoning, there have been several things delivered to this zoning. One was a report prepared by the Phoenix Center for Advanced Legal and Economic Public Policy Studies. It was a study that we provided zoning that hopefully is available to the board, just for those purposes, to try to help with public policy issues. That report is a rather substantial report, which it went very far in addressing a lot of the concerns about the reduced property value. I believe that another report Daryl had prepared was provided to the board that had to do with some real estate analysis on whether or not the operations of these pits have actually created a measurable or even any kind of a property value reduction. You just kept trying to gather data and facts to address concerns. That's what most I have.
Go ahead.
Is this 40 forested now?
Pardon?
Is is it forested, the 40 acres that we're talking about?
Yes, in the 30 years we've owned it, I'm a forester, so
I
I've
know.
been managing
Right.
timber production.
Yeah. So it's forested.
Yes.
And what's the forest crop? Aspen, pine?
Oh, no, it's everything. There's red oak, there's white pine, there's some red pine, they even have one hemlock tree. It's quite a variety.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions? Ms. Pettit or Mr. Betcher, you got any questions for the applicant?
I do not at this time, thanks.
I do not either. Thank you.
Okay.
I would ask if there's anyone else speak in favor.
Is there anyone else out there that is speaking in favor? No hands come up.
No, let me just double check because Mike's looking over there now. Yes, there is one hand raised right now. Kay Wilson.
Okay, Ms. Wilson, go ahead.
I would like to speak in opposition when my time is appropriate. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. No more in opposition
Or in favor?
or in favor, I mean, sorry.
Might be somebody. No, I do not see any other hands raised for those wishing to speak in favor of this
Okay.
application.
All right, we have many that's in opposition.
Yes, I will start with those that have turned in a public hearing
Yep.
slip then.
Yep.
Karen Geis, I do not wish to speak. I have sent a letter to Jay Kozlowski and Jesse Betcher. And I can't read that, but in opposition to the new pit for Gresham, Mass Pit owner in the town of Round Lake. I wish to speak on this application. Noise issues should apply to current town lake use noise. Older population who presently serves the community needs additional sleep to function, wildlife, and Serenity issues. And this is Barbara Howell.
Would you like to come up and speak? State your name, ma'am, and you have 3 minutes, please.
I think we should have address too. The bylaws and such.
Okay, and can we have your address too, please?
11153 and Blue Heron Lane that sits on the Tiger Cat flowage. I object. I'm here as a miracle because I have stage 4 cancer. It's incurable, it's inoperable. I generally have poor sleep nightly. And the fact is, my mother-in-law, who's a hospice patient, moved in with us last week, and that's a trial. Thank God she's hard of hearing, but we're not, and we have to take care of her. And we're an older population, like we stated before. We need our sleep. If you want us to be productive members of the community and give back to community service, and I was able to work in the COVID vaccine clinic because I had enough sleep. But if this thing comes through, we're all going to be devastated with the older group. My husband is a 100% disabled veteran from Vietnam, and he's trying to take care of her too, and it's just a mess. Part of my palliative care for my cancer is getting out and having little lake time. If I go up on McLean, ain't gonna happen, I don't think. There's loons up there. I'm on the loon committee. There's 2 nesting loons usually up there. The seismic activity from the crusher will likely displace them along with the black flies. And then we have eagles that are nesting there on upper twin, and a multitude of things that are going on. We're losing walleye production. We're losing muskie production. Max Walter can testify to that. And it could be the seismic activity and all the just, stuff going on about that. Currently, we have a Tiger Cat ordinance about personal watercraft operation between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. when we would like the noise control to reflect that ordinance that we already have in place and not go above and beyond what is acceptable in our area. We have an older population. I agree with everything Dr. Hagan says, and give us a break. We're tired, give us a break. Noise is something we can't control unless we vote against it, and the hours of operation and the crusher decibels, that's just unacceptable in my opinion. We have erosion. Could that be seismic activity too from the crusher? I got a bank that's ready to fall into the water. Could be muskrats, could be seismic, could be a combination. I don't know, but these things are frustrating.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank
3
you.
minutes is up. Thank you.
All right, next we have, I wish to speak in opposition of the application, but then I also checked, I do not wish to speak not in favor of the pit. Steve Miles. Steve, would you like to speak or no? Okay. I wish to speak in opposition to the application. Anna Marchand.
Okay, state your name and address, ma'am, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to state publicly that I'm opposed. My name is Ann Marchand. I am on 11945 Hildreth. I am a property owner. I do not live in the area, but we chose property in this area as a recreational. We are silent sport advocates. And this, reduces the possibility of expansion of that silent sport in this area. And since we chose this area specifically to be near quiet lakes and quiet trails. And so I think this gravel pit then reduces the impact, or why we chose this area, and potentially could reduce our property values. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wish to speak in opposition to the application. Ginny Chaybeck.
Okay, ma'am.
Same for you. State your name and address, please, for the record.
Hi, I'm Jenny Chabak. I serve on the town board for Round Lake as a supervisor. My address is 10363N McLean Road. I submitted a document to members of the committee to recap what took place in the town meeting, just for your awareness so that you could know what transpired there. I watched the proceedings that took place with this committee regarding the Todd's Ready Mix pit rezone from the town of Lenroot. And this was a rezone for land adjacent to their existing operation in order to expand the gravel pit. In this case, the town previously approved the rezone request. I'm not at all critical of the town board of Lenroot's position or decision to approve that rezone. I'm not aware of what information they had at the time. This is also a very complex subject and there's a lot to consider. However, the townspeople came out at that zoning meeting in opposition and expanding the operation closer to residential areas. I heard one of the adjacent landowners say that he felt that the town plan commission had not done enough to establish a strong future land use plan. I also listened to Mr. Betcher's comment at the end of that hearing, basically stating that the town board should have done more. The committee ultimately voted to deny the rezone. Now that's this committee. In contrast, when this CUP came up with regards to the town of Round Lake, there was a good deal of discussion and research that took place prior to the town board meeting on April 8th. I emailed the committee members a summation of that research, and that's that document titled Research and References. Our town plan commission unanimously recommended that the board deny the request in their meeting on April 6th. And on April 8th, approximately 16 town people came out, and we had another 9 online. After the April 8th meeting, where the town board unanimously voted to deny the request, the townspeople continued their efforts. So I respectfully ask that this committee please strongly consider the work that has been done by the town in making your decision today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish to speak in opposition to this application, Jean Pertel.
Okay, ma'am, state your name and address, please, for the record.
Jean Pertel, 11961 Hildreth Road. I have lived here 25 years. Over this time frame, we have had lots of issues with the gravel pits and the noise levels, the dust, the traffic, the asphalt smell. This is, if we are going to do this again and some more, we are no longer in a recreational zone. This is supposed to be a recreation retirement area in Sawyer County. And I've been notified that it also can decrease our property values. Is this what Sawyer County wants for its area of residents and for all of us that live here, that came here for retirement? We already have enough gravel pits in this area. One more with another rock crusher we do not need. We have one that's like 3-4 miles from my home, and I hear it all the time when it runs. I smell the asphalt. This one is going to be within 1.5 miles of my home. I ask that you please deny this conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish to speak in opposition to this application. We oppose the application. We only found out about the application because of a phone call from neighbors. We were not notified previously. Denise Johnson.
My name is Denise Johnson, and myself and my husband, Scott Johnson, own a home at 12002 West Hildreth. As I stated on my form, we were just recently made aware of this. We would like to oppose the application. I think that our neighbors who we spoke to and the people that have just spoken did so eloquently and intelligently, and they echo our opinions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish to speak in opposition to the application. Extreme traffic danger, loud diesel truck noise, constant, very loud boom boom from crack of dawn, sometimes to late at night, causes extreme anxiety. I'm disabled and ill and at the home all the time. Can't stifle the noise. Many commercial proposals, one after the other, to battle in residential neighborhoods, etc. Catherine Marson.
Catherine Marson. I live on Songbird Lane, 11213 North Songbird Lane. I just heard about this the day before yesterday, so I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. All the previous speakers that talked about the noise, it is already a constant boom, 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 boom. From the minute we open our eyes in the morning till late at night, it goes on and on and on. It is absolute torture. I'm disabled, I'm ill, I am not able to escape it. I'm at my home all the time. I have to keep the windows shut, storm windows shut, put ear plugs in, headphones on. The truck traffic is outrageous. It is nonstop, and those big diesel trucks on acceleration and deceleration are extremely, extremely loud. And we are in a residential neighborhood. There are children, there are a lot of people that walk, ride their bicycles. It's very bad. The pedestrians are in danger. I was told that one of these operations is going to be coming out of Bethel Road. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if I'm able to interject with you at this point, but the pit would be located off of Highway 77. That's where the entrance would be, but it borders property along Betchel.
Okay, so there will not be an ingress and egress on Bethel Road onto
Not
Twin
as
Lake?
described in the plan at this point.
Okay, the existing one on Highway 77 is so loud, you cannot stifle the noise, and the truck traffic is non-stop. And it is really dangerous too, trying to make a turn off of any place where they're coming or going, because those trucks start up rather slowly. Anywhere where there's a hill, you come over a hill, you can't see that truck, and those cars are going to crash into those trucks. At some point, we are going to have some fatalities. That is an absolute certainty. I mean, it's almost all day long, 5, 6, 7 days a week. It's most of the year. And I've lived here for 18 years. I can't continue to live in an area where this is just one mining pit after another. Those rock crushers are loud. Those trucks are very loud, and it's non-stop. So we need some kind of reprieve from this. On every single level, this is not right. It is not right for the people that live here to have our lives destroyed, the high anxiety it provokes, and those of us that suffer from chronic illnesses, anxiety makes pain far worse. Our health is already compromised, and this is going to compromise it much more. And if they should be coming off of Bethel Road at any time, there's a hill like this. Any car coming over that hill is going to smash directly into these giant trucks. And it's an inevitability because those trucks don't stop. It's all day long. That's all we hear. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish to speak in opposition to the application. Wish to oppose CUP 21007, Cindy Conger.
Good morning, committee. My name is Cindy Conger, 12055 North Wheel Inn Drive. My husband and I purchased a property here 5 years ago for retirement. I am currently retired and enjoying the fabulous area around us. We've been coming up here for years, supporting the Berkebiner and all sorts of other silent sports activities. I just echo and support the things people have been saying in opposition to this pit. The environmental impact is very critical to consider. Tourism, property values, all important things to think about as a committee. And I appreciate your time and listening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Should speak in opposition to the application, Kyle Dreisky Trumbull. They left? I wish to speak in opposition to the application, Michael Donato.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Mike Donato, and I live at 12038 West Hildreth. My wife Holly and I purchased a property at 12038 West Hildreth 2 years ago. We come from the Twin Cities. I needed, as a requirement for my job, to be close to an airport, a major airport. And so we've lived around Minneapolis, St. Paul for all of our married life, 30 years. And in anticipation of retirement, we wanted peace and tranquility. So we set about to search for our tranquil retirement location, and we looked at many places: Brainerd, Gull Lake, up towards Duluth, St. Croix County, Luck, and Hayward. And I'll tell you, we just found the most fantastic residence on Hildreth Road, the most wonderful home that we could ever imagine. Plus, we have a fantastic neighborhood. We have wonderful neighbors. And we knew at the time when we purchased about the gravel pit across the road. It did make some noise, and we understood that that was going to happen from time to time. We put up with it. But to have yet another gravel pit put into the area and even closer to our home, we're 1 mile exactly off of 77. To have something that's even closer to us is just unbelievable that this would even be proposed. I'm all for business. I came from a business background, not gravel pit operations though. And this is going to be detrimental to our quality of life. And that's what I think it boils down to. The residents in the Bethel Road area and Hildreth and Sparrow Lane need your help. We're in strong opposition and we're in unity against this proposal. Nothing against Mr. Greshel personally, but I don't think his efforts to decrease the amount of noise and dust and the decrease in wildlife in the environment will be able to make up for having the gravel pit there. I think it's an impossibility. So I stand in opposition to it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. I wish to speak in opposition of the application, property values and quality of life, Cindy Bajoud, and I believe she has sent and distributed an additional packet to the committee members, which is the second one there. Yes, the large ones titled to Sawyer County Zoning Committee. The other one, Bruce. This one, Bruce.
This one. I don't even have that one. Do I? Thank you.
Thank you for your time. My name is Cindy Bijou. I'm at 12041 West Hildreth. I'm here today to express my deepest concerns regarding the CUP 21007 for the Greshel Trust Reclamation packet. Per the Sawyer County Zoning Committee checklist for findings of fact, for denial, your top line states it would be damaging to the rights of others and property values. And speaking to this, I'm referencing studies that I prior sent in via email to you, study by Diane Height in 2006. It's titled Summary Analysis Impact of Operational Gravel Pit on House Values. The site was Delaware County, Ohio, and it's Auburn University. The summary findings include that properties within 0.31 miles of the pit drop in value by 25%. You move that to 0.625 miles away, it's between 15 and 20%. Move it a mile away, as Jean Fertel lives, your value drops by 15%. An additional study out of 2018 by several, Diane Height and Hugo Sun, titled Mining Local Residential Property Values. We find statistically and economically significant property value suppressing effects of being located near an operational rock mine, which gradually declined to insignificant near zero values at 10 miles. And as people have stated, when we purchased our home, we're looking for recreational amenities, natures, lakes, peace and quiet. And if you're affected by disamenities such as the current 3 gravel pits that are operational, that has a substantial impact on property values and quality of life. And the important question for the zoning committee before you today is, how would adding a 4th pit create any more nuisance to us? The critical difference the zoning committee needs to consider, and I would ask you to refer to the red sheet that Bruce is pulling up now. And if you look at the the map there, it shows squared off in the red where the 5-acre pit is going to be. The critical difference is if you look at the topographical map, it shows the height of that pit that's going in, which is at a very high level. So the big difference then with what the noise that we have to put up with now with the existing pits is that pit, yes, thank you very much, 1459 and 1460 feet is up in that northwest corner. That's starting at ground zero where the noise, the dust, and every piece of complaint that has been presented to you before, that has a substantial impact comparative to the other pit. If you even look at the Thompson pit, that's down at 1406, 1412, because of course they've dug. And like Marotic has dug, not him specifically, but the pit over the years, that's down 100 feet below Highway 77. And we're still getting severe noise implications and quality of life issues by that. So now if you
Thank you, ma'am.
take a look at that, please take that into consideration and deny this conditional use permit. Thank you.
I wish to speak in opposition to this application, Jane Bidwell, who has also submitted additional documentation to this committee.
Thank you, and I have copies here of the information I have previously submitted. Thank you, committee. My name is Jane Bidwell. I live at 12149 West Hildreth Road, and I believe that none of the concerned citizens at this meeting are against business, and we all acknowledge the need for gravel. But this issue is also about the mental and physical health and property values of the people who will live near this new gravel pit. We currently have 3 active gravel pits with crushing operations on the west side of Highway 77. This proposed site is on the east side of the highway and much closer to residences and lakes than the pits operating on the west side. All of the existing gravel pits with crushers are located to the north and west of most of the homes in this area. This is important because our prevailing winds are from the north and west. This new proposed pit with crusher would also be to the north and west, only much closer to existing homes. I have calculated using county mapping that there are approximately 168 residences within 1.5 miles of this proposed 5-acre pit. If this CUP is granted, then based on history, it will most assuredly grow since Mr. Greshel owns 155 acres at this site. Dust created by gravel pits and crushing operations is considered respirable crystalline silica, a type of particulate matter, and is also called fugitive dust. Many studies have established a strong link between these particles and the following health effects: increased respiratory problems, silicosis, decreased lung function, aggravated asthma, development of chronic bronchitis, lung cancer, and many more. This fugitive dust, silica dust, can travel airborne for many miles. The closer one lives to the source, the risk for developing health problems increases. Those of us who live near the 3 existing pits can't see the respirable crystalline silica, but we are most certainly breathing it. There is mention of dust control in the application for this new permit, and yet another crushing operation in our close proximity. I would argue vehemently that the 3 existing pits on the west side of Highway 77 have failed to control fugitive dust. In the 11 years I have lived on Hildreth Road, the dust on my property and in my home has grown exponentially. I am worried for my health. The noise generated from the 3 existing pits with crushing, beeping trucks, and jailbreaking already takes a toll on one's mental health. Now my new knowledge about the hazards of the fugitive silica dust we are breathing, I am very worried for my physical health. Why would anyone believe that things will be different with this new pit? That would be much closer to existing residences? When is enough enough? I would respectfully urge the zoning committee members to have the health and welfare of existing homeowners at the forefront of your decision today. Please vote to deny this conditional use permit. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. You must have timed this when you wrote it. It's exactly 3 minutes.
I had to time myself 5 times.
I wish to speak in opposition to this application, Steve Bow. Or Boo.
Hi, I'm Steve Bow. I live on 11730 North Farnsworth Road. I'm about 3/4 of a mile from the proposed pit. And I think sometimes it's hard if you don't live in the area to realize the noise impact. You know, you're maybe just looking at the feet that your property is. But as we all know, sound really echoes in the Northwoods. Like I say, I almost live a mile away from the current Merotech pits, which are on the west side of Highway 77. And sometimes I'll be sitting out on my deck trying to read a book, enjoy my lake property that I bought here for retirement. And I finally just have to go inside because the noise is just too much. And now they're talking about putting a gravel pit not only on the west side of 77, which is 100 feet below ground, is protected by a berm going across 77 with trees on top, all to reduce noise. Now they're talking about going on the other side of the road where there's not a berm for noise. It just seems like we've all kind of politely put up with the pits on the other side of Highway 77. We've maybe been too nice, not complained enough. But now when they're talking about jumping over to the opposite side, closer to everybody, I think we've all are at wit's end and are putting up a stand that we've been dutifully paying our real estate taxes for many years, in some case increased real estate taxes because we're on waterways. We've been helping the county out with their budget by continually to pay these. Now we're asking for your help. Just to peacefully enjoy the property that we envisioned when we bought it. We want to just live out in the country, peace and quiet nature by the lakes. You know, it's as simple as that, and we're asking for your vote to disapprove it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I wish to speak in opposition to the application, Charles Evenson.
Thank you. My name is Charles Ebenson. I live on 12912 Ann Peterson Road. I want to let you know that I agree with others that have spoken here in opposition to the CUP. Concerns about air quality, noise, property values, I think are all real. I live almost 2.5 miles as the crow flies from the existing pits, and I hear the noise that far away. And you know, it's been brought up that the existing operation is down in a bowl, you know, 100 feet below the level of the highway, and it still can move noise 2.5 miles. The people who live on the other side of the highway, close to this new proposed pit, I fully agree that they are going to be impacted by the noise, by the air quality, and by the property value loss. And I just like to let you know that I oppose your granting the CUP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wish to speak in opposition to the application, Mark Lenz.
Hi, I'm Mark Lenz. I live at 12090 Hildreth Road. I got alerted to this, drove up from Minneapolis to participate in this hearing. I think the thing that struck me when I walked in this room was what the words behind you are, and that's we the people. We the people, as you can see, are opposed to this. There is a pretty large group of people who live in close proximity to this proposed mine. And it's really important for all of us and the quality of life of the people that live there that you guys make the right decision. And I applaud the town of Round Lake for what they decided relative to this. So, as I said, I'm opposed to this and will leave it to you guys to make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This one has both of them checked that I wish to speak in opposition, but also that I don't wish to speak, but I'm registering. This is Scott Johnson.
Yeah, I have both.
Thank you. I wish to speak in opposition to the application, Edward Hagen.
Thanks so much for the opportunity to speak. I think I'm going to try to cut this really short. Everybody seems to know my opinion. And what I really like is,
Address, sir?
oh yeah, 12382 W Twin Lake Road. My property borders the south border of the Greshel Trust property. So I think that all I can tell you is that Round Lake has changed. It's not the same place it used to be. We have a lot of things going on in this county that is very important for the people that surround it. These people that were out here talking, speaking to this, they love the area. And I think that this is the thing that really has to be taken into account with the county board. Thanks for your assistance.
I wish to speak in opposition to this application. Rolf Hansen.
Good morning, I'm Rolf Hansen. I live at 11568 North Rickman Road, and I'm the chairman of the town of Round Lake. And I'm pleased to note that so many people have spoken so eloquently to this morning that my little remarks here are going to be a lot shorter than they would have otherwise been. So you've heard about our plan commission and the town board and the way we heard this and deliberated on it. You've heard the testimony and reasons why repeatedly from folks as to why, what they're experiencing, why they're opposed to it. Folks could have testified that they were neutral to the idea, that they didn't care either way, but instead folks only expressed concerns about how a new mine would be damaging to the rights of all near the proposed site and to property values. In my 17 years on the board, constituents have seldom expressed the level of concern about any issue. And it's not just about worries over a new mine. There's worries that folks in the city looking at a zoning map or a plat book don't understand the culture and the dynamic of a neighborhood about 10 miles out of town. And it's true, unless you live here, you don't really understand the impact of mines in the community. I can attest to this, as I've lived in the neighborhood for 23 years. I know well that even the existing pits west of Highway 77 that folks have well documented, nearly 6,000 feet away from my property and through dense woods, create all the things that people have explained, the noise, the aroma, vibration, disruption in and outside my house. For comparison, the new proposed pit is a little over 1,000 feet away from Bethel Road, the most densely populated neighborhood in the entire town. It's likely you and zoning administration after our board hearing, this application have been heavily lobbied with claims that there will be no impact from a new mine near the densely populated Bethel, Twin Lakes Road, and Round Lake neighborhoods. No impact to me means zero, no change to anything, no new sound, no new vibration, no new aromas, no new dust or mine-based particulate floating into houses, no new worries or problems about property values, period. How likely is it no impact with a new mine so close to people and neighborhoods? When leaves are off the trees during the seasons that the folks who are proposing this mine, during those seasons, sound is really amplified in our neighborhood, and it would take living there for a long time to get it. The prevailing wind, as some folks have pointed out, is north and northwest. So it would be essentially like a fan blowing everything from the current and the new pit site directly in the neighborhoods. One of the main goals in the town is to protect our constituents from ill-conceived plans and decisions which could seriously impact the quality of life, especially in established residential neighborhoods. We would no more allow a concert venue or a drag racing track to occur just 1,000 feet away than we would this. So I respectfully ask you to please deny the application.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I wish to speak in opposition. Annalisa Mueller.
I'm Annalisa Mueller and I live at 12453 W Bethel Road. I am not in favor of this new pit. I am a second row of properties in from where the Greshel Trust Forest property's at. And like he said, there's going to be possible expansion down the road. And while it might start small now, that just puts another foot in the door to expand that right up to properties. And I don't, I'm not going to be living there for my whole retirement life, but until then, if I want to sell in 15 years, what type of property value am I going to have? There's sound pollution, there's noise pollution, and how is this affecting our water tables? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wish to speak in opposition to the application, Mark Evanson.
My name is Mark Evenson. I live on 11372 N Bethel Road. And when I heard the landowner come up here, it's almost like he was saying that there's no problem living next to a pit, right? It's not a big problem, land values wise, right? That just defies common sense, doesn't it? So, and the second thing is I agree with all these comments that have said in opposition already to this pit. And I think the third thing is that I think if you probably asked everybody in Sawyer County if they wanted to live next to a pit, they'd probably say no. And so I ask you folks, take a minute or two and think how you would vote if you lived next to the pit, or you're one of us sitting back here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I wish to speak in opposition to the application. Karen, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. M. Yeah, that's it. How'd you know?
Everybody knows.
I know who it is. All right. Thanks for the opportunity to come here today. A lot of my neighborhood, this is Meet Your Neighbors.
Do we have your address?
I am Karen Miliseca of 11704 North Farnsworth Road, which is off of Twin Lake Road. You spoke earlier today, Jay, about facts. There's facts, and Jane brought quite a few really good ones. I looked it up as well. There's environmental issues, you name it. The noise pollution will go. I mean, you've heard from others that it's already there. But in addition, we are in the prevailing winds heading to our direction, and it will decrease some of our property values because you don't want to live next to it either. So if the property values do go down, our property taxes will go down. Yeah, that's a great thing. However, the county board will not have that money, and there goes the county budget. So in consideration to...
All right. Sorry about those technical difficulties there. We got disrupted at the courthouse by the internet, but we were able to get back on. Can those on the Zoom, Rebecca, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Only can hear you.
Can hear you.
Okay, it does still look like Jesse and Dawn, you both are still present.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. We'll try to pick back up where we left off. I wish to speak in opposition of the application. Larry, I'm sorry, I cannot read the last name there. M. Meadows? Meddens?
Good morning. My name is Larry Mitters. I've lived on 11622 North Farnsworth Road since the mid-1990s. Our United States, we work on goods and services, and that's part of how this country operates. But we also live in a world of environmental concerns. Water, air, land are all important, but also noise. One of the considerations I think we've overlooked is the operation of the plot. But another concern is that of transportation. If you make this operation work, you have to put trucks on the road to move the product. And that would cause all sorts of, I would think, road construction problems that just get added to the initial problem. And my last thought is, we live in our own world, but one of my thoughts is would you as an individual that's making the decision want to deal with this kind of noise pollution on a regular basis? And I ask you to consider that as you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I wish to speak in opposition, but then it also looks like they may have checked. I do not wish to speak. I live in the Bethel Road neighborhood and concerned about the crushing operations and hours of operation. Lynn Frederickson.
Hi, Lynn Frederickson, 11472 and Bethel Road. My property butts up to Ed Haugen's property. We do at this time get residual from the other pits. My concern is the hours of operation, the noise level, the dust, the water contaminants, and just to echo the sentiments of everybody else that's come forward, I just want to have you guys consider that, and I thank you for your time for the opposition. Thanks.
I do not wish to speak, but in registering, I'm opposed to this permit. Cindy Storm. I have then 3 hands at this point raised online. Kay Wilson.
Go ahead, Miss Wilson.
Kay,
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I am a supervisor for the town of Round Lake, and the town of Round Lake is very dependent on our comprehensive plan to make our decisions at the town. And in element 5, agricultural, natural, and cultural resources, the #1 goal is to protect, enhance, and promote the sustainable use and management of the town's environmental diversity, natural resources, natural beauty, and Northwood's character, defined as, quote, a balanced and tranquil environment centered on the natural world, rich with forests and fresh waters. We need to preserve and protect these natural surroundings, which are to be cherished. Objective 8 is conserve productive forest land by expanding the use of conservation easements, incentives, and voluntary long-term stewardship of forest lands. Objective 9 is preserve forest integrity by promoting a healthy, vigorous forest and discouraging forest parcelization and isolation. And with that background and all the substantial evidence and the voice of the people, the town of Round Lake decided to unanimously deny this based on it would be damaging to the rights of others and property values, and it would create air quality, noise quality, water supply, or pollution problems. And I respectfully ask, as a citizen of the town of Round Lake, for you to deny this application. Thank you.
Miss Wilson, could you give us your address, please, for the record?
I live at 10850 North Stewart Road, which is right off of Twin Lake Road.
Thank you.
Next hand raised online I see is Martin Hanson.
Go ahead, Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Martin Hanson. I have property at 11078N Robin Lane in Sawyer County. I am the treasurer for the Round Lakes Property Owners Association, which has approximately 400 members who own property on Round Lake near the applicant's proposed gravel site. I'm here speaking as a citizen, and I'm also speaking as a representative of the Round Lake Property Owners Association. We oppose this CUP. We are concerned with the possible adverse effects of the proposed action. Our primary concern is noise. A member on Little Round Lake has told us they can hear rock crushing noise from the existing pits in the vicinity of the new proposed pit. We're also concerned about the other adverse impacts such as groundwater, wildlife, ambient light, and airborne particles or dust. Another adverse impact from gravel pits is a potential decrease in property value, which has been mentioned. A quick Google search will reveal several studies to substantiate this claim. We recognize the need for gravel to support our infrastructure. The applicant is for 5 acres of a potential 40-acre site. In fact, if some version of a new infrastructure bill passes Congress, the demand for aggregates will certainly increase and the likelihood of an expansion is almost a certainty. The question is, where will we meet this demand? Gravel is a limited resource, and it is where it is. Certainly, there are other locations in the 1,350 square miles of Sawyer County with little or at least less dense residential development nearby. I don't think anyone on the lake wants to wake up to the sounds of a rock crusher or watch the sunset while listening to loons with the sound of a rock crusher and truck traffic in the background. We recognize there are other operating gravel pits in the area. We've been told that there have been complaints on the operation of these existing pits. Given that these existing pits have a record of complaints, Sawyer County should not add an additional pit to an existing area of complaints and add to the annoyances. We respectfully request that Sawyer County Zoning Committee deny this CUP because the effects of the use are not in the best interest of the public, nearby residents, and the many visitors to Sawyer County. The application is also too broad and vague in scope, and the committee cannot rely on nor enforce oral promises by the applicant at this hearing. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next hand raised I see is S. Swanson 1.
Mr. Chairman.
Hang on a minute.
I think that's
Yes,
Dawn. Hold on 1 second.
Go ahead, Ms. Pettit.
Is there any way that we could speed this along, that if there isn't anything new from anybody that's already spoken, that if no one has anything else new to add, that we try to move this on a little quicker?
Well, we're just about done with this portion of it.
Okay.
We're just doing the virtual right now.
All right, and moving on back to S. Swanson 1. Go ahead and speak your name and your address for the record, please.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. I will be brief. My name is Steve Swanson. My family and I own a residence in the Twin Lakes corridor at 12413 West Lake Street in Hayward, Wisconsin. My family's been coming to Round Lake for many, many years. I agree with everything that has been said in opposition to this proposal, but I do have one personal story. I'm a retired neurosurgeon. I lived in a semi-rural area in Ann Arbor, Michigan, near a gravel pit. One night on call, I was called into the hospital to take care of 4 people injured in a gravel truck car accident. 2 did not survive. 1 was paralyzed. The other person I operated on, and they live with a severe head injury. I have breathed the air. I have seen the trucks. I have heard the noise. It's unfathomable to me that you would even consider something like this close to residential property. Thank you very much. I appreciate your consideration.
Sure. Thank you.
Another hand raised online is Ann Harless.
Go ahead, Ms. Harless.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a homeowner. My husband and I are a homeowner at 12447 W. Bethel Road in Hayward. And I just want to be on the record that we do oppose this. I do agree with all the points that have been brought up thus far and want to be on the record. I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I do not see any additional hands raised. I will give it 5 seconds for those that are still wishing to speak in opposition. I see a hand raised for Mark and Pam.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. We'll make it quick. Pam and I, we live at 12330 West Hildreth Road. We bought our property in the mid-90s.
Last name, please.
Rosenow, Rosenow.
Thank you.
And we agree with everybody who is in opposition of this pit. And we'd like to add one more item, that the board continues to review the current hours of our current gravel pits that are operating. We are changing. With COVID, people moving up here, people working from home. We all need gravel, we all need roadways, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and I appreciate the board and all of our residents and friends and family out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, there's another hand raised, Ann Reinhardt, sorry.
Thank you. We have property at 12485 Lake Street, and I'm just calling in to oppose this application for all that has been stated before. The noise pollution is a true concern. It's been well documented how it can affect health significantly in people. The air pollution, and as people have said before, the property value. So thank you for, I don't need to repeat what everybody else said, but just calling in opposition. Thanks.
Thank you.
At this point, I see no additional hands raised.
Okay, is there anybody else out there that would like to speak in opposition if they haven't spoke already? Okay, if none. Come on up, state your name.
Yes, my name is Donald Stover. I live at 11518 North Farnsworth Road. I would like to speak in opposition to this. I agree with everything that's been said so far. I live on Lower Twin Lake, approximately 3 miles away from the current gravel pits. I can hear them very plainly on Lower Twin Lake. I can only sympathize with the people that are on Bethel Road and all of us that are going to have to listen to this new pit. So I respectfully ask that you deny this request, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to speak in opposition before we go out of public hearing?
My other two out.
Okay, if not, need a motion to come out of public hearing, please.
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Discussion action, the town of Round Lake, conditional use permit number 21-007, owner Greshel Trust, agent Select Materials. Legal description is previously read into record. 5 acres of the total 40-acre parcel zone forestry 1. Permit is desired for the location and operation of a non-metallic mineral extraction operation, including rock crusher. As part of the staff report, and again to just inform the committee, as part of the state statutory requirements of Act 67, that the county's decision to approve or deny the permit must be supported by substantial evidence. Again, looking at the staff report for definition of substantial evidence. Substantial evidence means facts and information other than merely personal preferences or speculation, directly pertaining to the requirements and conditions an applicant must obtain a conditional use permit that a reasonable person would accept in support of a conclusion. The applicant must demonstrate that the application, all the requirements of the condition established by the county relating to the conditional use permit or shall be satisfied, both by which must be supported by substantial evidence. That is all.
Okay, thanks. Okay. All right, committee. It's up to us.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny the conditional use permit. I think I've got some substantial evidence to indicate that it would be damaging to the rights of property values. It would be contrary to the Round Lake comprehensive plan objectives. And I don't have substantial evidence, but if you look at the map, gravel pit would be damaging to the wildlife.
Okay.
I'll second it. Nope.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion?
With your discussion, and just so that we have a very good record of it, could you divulge a little bit more of what substantial evidence you're referring to?
I am looking at this document here that says I think it's the impact of operational gravel pit on house values that was supplied to us. Okay, and Kay Wilson has told us about the goals and objectives in the Round Lake Comprehensive Plan. I think we can dig that out.
Yep.
And wildlife, I do not have substantial evidence. I just think common sense would say that this is 40 acres of forest with some very mixed and very good forest land. And if you have a gravel pit in that area, it is going to damage the wildlife.
Okay, good. I do have Rebecca's hand raised as well.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yep, in addition to the information that Supervisor Paulson just commented on, I would also recommend that the committee specifically incorporate all of the information that was provided in the public hearing in your utilization of that information in making your decision, because you received a lot of information in that public hearing that can be again, used as the substantial evidence to support your decision.
Okay. So do we have to add that into Mr. Paulson's motion then? What you asking?
It sounds like it, that you would include all the additional testimony that was given here today as part of substantial evidence used in your determination.
Okay, I would, my motion would include all of the information presented today. I don't think everything had substantial evidence, but those pieces that had substantial evidence, we should incorporate.
Yes, that's perfect, Mr. Paulson. Thank you.
Dawn. It sounded like Dawn had a second.
Dawn had a second.
Are you okay with that, Ms. Pettit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? If not,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
Yeah, this is Jesse. I just want to state that, I mean, I'm a fan of entrepreneurship and economic development, big fan of capitalism in our free market society, but not if it's at the detriment of others. And I believe this CUP, if approved, would be damaging to the rights, quality of life, and property values of others.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Betcher. All right, if there's no more discussion, Kathy, can we do a roll call, please?
Bruce
Wait, could
Paulson.
you repeat the motion so we're all clear that this is a motion to disapprove the request? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to read the record back into the, or the motion back into the record, please.
Motion by Paulson to deny with substantial evidence of all that was presented today with the impact on operational. There was handouts, the Round Lake Comprehensive Plan and using common sense on wildlife damage. And then Pettit second that.
Did you get that, Mr. Betcher?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Bruce Paulson,
Yes.
Dawn Pettit,
Yes.
Jesse Betcher,
Yes.
Stacy Hessel,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor.
All in favor for denial?
Okay, do you need finding of facts
Yes.
again? Okay. It would be damaging to the property values as referenced in the study, impact of operational gravel pits on house values included in the information that we received. It would also be contrary to goals and objectives of the Town Lake Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how do we go about doing the reclamation then, Jamie?
That's a good question. Since the location operation was denied, Rebecca, what would be the appropriate route for the reclamation plan at this point? You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. Pursuant to the statutes and also the local ordinances, you have to take action on the request for reclamation plan within a certain period of time of the public hearing that must be conducted for the reclamation plan. So you have to go, or I advise that you go back and do the same things that you just did for the reclamation plan itself. I know it seems very duplicative and may certainly seem like a not wise use of time. However, I strongly encourage you to do so because of the statutory requirements that, again, require you to act within a certain period of time if you receive an application for reclamation plan. So you're checking a box, an important one, when you go back.
And even if this committee was to approve the reclamation plan, we still don't have approval of the location and operation because, again, the applicant has met the requirements as specified in NR 135 for approval, or at least case, conditional approval of the reclamation plan.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, but under the statutes though, it doesn't differentiate between the approval of the conditional use permit or the action on the reclamation plan. The statutes just say that the county has to act on the reclamation plan within a certain period of time. So even though the conditional use permit has been denied, that requirement to act on the reclamation plan request must still be met.
We can do it right now.
Yep. This is a public hearing in the town of Round Lake, acting under the conditional use permit number of 21007 for the reclamation plan. Greshel Trust, Agent Select Materials, legal description, southeast 1/4, the northwest 1/4, section 12, township 41 north, range 8 west, parcel 0248411222401. It's 5 acres of the 40-acre parcel, zone forestry 1. Again, this permit is desired for the reclamation portion, subject to NR 135. As part of the staff report, the applicant is requesting to open a new non-metallic mining extraction operation, which was denied at a previous hearing at the Sawyer County Zoning Committee. The reclamation plan would be for the 5 acres. If additional expansion was to occur, which again, the conditional use permit for this has been denied. The Sawyer County Zoning Conservation Department has reviewed the reclamation summary and concludes that the plan is consistent with the standards as specified in NR 135. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee, being the regulatory authority, may approve, conditionally approve, or deny the reclamation plan. That is all.
Okay, need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 21-007
For the reclamation.
for the reclamation plan.
I'll make the motion to go into public hearing.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Did the applicant still here, or did he leave?
Left.
Okay. All right, then I guess he ain't gonna speak. Was there anybody out there would like to speak against this? CUP? Okay, man, come up, state your name and address, please.
Barbara Howe, 11153 on North Blue and Heron Lane off of Twin Lake Road. And I don't know how to word this properly, but this parcel of land should return back to its original state, in my opinion, and I don't know if that's feasible with this committee, but it should return to a forested state. That means trees, that means some topsoil and some stuff like that that's going to prevent more noise pollution. And if grasses are native grasses and wildflowers and stuff like that, that's where it should go. It shouldn't be left as rock, in my opinion. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else out there would like to speak in against this reclamation?
Nope, I don't see any online.
Okay, anybody out there want to speak in favor of it? Okay, none?
No.
All right, need a motion to come out of public hearing?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to come out of public hearing on CUP number 21-007. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Come out of public hearing.
This is discussion action in the town of Round Lake acting under conditional use permit number 21-007 for the reclamation plan only. Greshel Trust owner, agent, select materials, legal description is previously read into record.
Okay, committee?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny the request based upon the committee's denial of the CUP for the gravel pit operations.
I'll second that.
I should mention that if you are going to make a denial for the reclamation plan, it needs to have one of the findings. This is included within my staff report. The applicant has, after being given the opportunity to make correction, failed to provide an adequate permit application, reclamation plan, financial assurance, or other substantial evidence as provided by the NR 135 or applicable reclamation ordinance. The proposed non-metallic mining site cannot be reclaimed in compliance with NR 135. If the applicant or the agent, principal, or procedures or heirs of the property during the course of the non-metallic mining in Wisconsin within 10 years of the permit application or modification request being considered showing a pattern of serious violations of the chapter of federal, state, or local environmental laws. Denial shall be in writing and shall contain documentation of the reasons of the denial from the standpoint of NR 135. So again, you do have a motion in a second, but I would just caution you, if you're denying the reclamation plan, you need to say why you're denying it, other than we just didn't approve the location and operation.
I can't comply with that.
Yeah.
I will not.
We do have a motion in a second. We should probably vote on it, and you should either approve or conditionally approve, because the applicant does meet the standards of NR 135. If you deny it, then you need to have a basis of denial for the reclamation plan, other than just we denied the cup for location operation.
Well, we have a motion and a second.
Correct.
So,
Right.
and there's no more discussion. So Kathy, let's do a roll call, please.
Okay. Ron Buckholz.
I think I want to say yes, right? We're denying.
To
yes.
deny. Bruce
Make sure it goes
Paulson.
the right way.
Yes.
Bruce Paulson.
Yes.
Don Pettit.
Yes.
Jesse Betcher.
Yes.
Stacy Hessel.
Yes.
All in favor to deny.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The reclamation plan was denied, and we'll,
Figure
at
it
the
out.
zoning office, figure out how to structure a denial format for that, probably with help from legal. Moving on to proposed ordinance amendments. This is a public hearing, the Sawyer County zoning ordinance amendment to section 6.6 trailer camps and campgrounds. The red line version of the proposed ordinance amendments was to be found at the Sawyer County Zoning Department and the official Sawyer County website. This is discussion action to send to the county board. Prior to opening this public hearing, I would like to make the admission to the zoning committee that I did upload the proposed ordinance amendments to the Sawyer County website. They were sitting up there, and every time I would go to the website to view it, it looked like it was there and published on the website. That's because I was still signed in under my username and never hit save, which then makes it available to the public. So every time I would go back into the website, logged in as my username, there it would show up, but I never hit the save copy. So the general public did not, or was not able to see the full red line version on the Sawyer County website. I do make that admission. That is my error. I will own up to it. At this point, my recommendation would be postponing this public hearing at this time, as that in the agenda, it said a full red line version would be available, and unfortunately, it was not available to the general public.
And we haven't heard back from all the towns, right?
That is another element to bring up. There's about 8 towns that have not held their town board meetings this month, in that they have moved them back as to comply with the statutory requirements to hold their annual town meeting.
Right.
With those 2 bits of information, again, my personal recommendation as the Sawyer County zoning administrator would be postponing this public hearing at this time.
All right, Jay, I'm going to make that motion to postpone this, or until, when do we want to do it?
May,
May,
the May zoning committee.
on the campground. Tony, give me a second.
I'll second that.
Second that. I think Mr. Betcher beat me to it.
Okay.
Oh, who did?
Jesse.
Jesse? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to postpone the campground resolution until the May meeting.
I have a question for Rebecca. Can you hear me? Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What would be the adverse consequences if we just approved it and sent it on to the county board and put it on the, I mean, we could have citizens comment at that time?
Legally, you do have to have a public hearing. And unless let me think about this. I wouldn't recommend that you have that public hearing in conjunction with the board meeting. And also, the statutes require that all of the towns, town approval of the ordinance. So when it gets to the board, if all of the towns, or if the towns haven't acted yet, you'll still have that deferral requirement at that point in time.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
We have
We just
comment.
have discussion about it, but at this point, yeah, the motion's to postpone the public hearing until the website, which is now live and active, and does have the current and working versions of the red line version of the proposed campground ordinance amendments, as well as all towns to submit their comments.
Okay, is there anybody want to discuss anything on it?
Me,
Okay, if not, what's that?
me, Phil.
Phil,
I've only been at this for a year. I'm sorry. That's the reason we've heard from 11 towns which had the red line version. And of the 11 towns that we heard from that they voted yes, we had one with no action. We had one that turned it down. And only two towns are left for the end of the month, which is Bass Lake and Coudray. So, and they're both next week, and they would be before the county board meeting. I think the legal thing is, from Rebecca, needs to be is, would we have a problem, for an example, because the red light version wasn't made on the public, even though it was stated it was. I mean, how deep of a hole we dug there. It's been over a year. This is, every town I've talked to, all 15 towns, and the one that wasn't in favor isn't in favor, so that's fine. And one took no action. So, but that one probably will take action now that it's postponed because they got a new board. So anyway, long story short, I guess I'm getting tired of sitting here listening for 5 hours to get down to, we're going to postpone when we've fulfilled all the requirements. Now, is it legally we've done something wrong that Jay didn't get it on, then fine, postpone it. But I just find it ironic, I guess. Thank you.
thank you. And we have a motion and a second on the floor to postpone this. And we're gonna do roll call on it. Kathy?
Okay. Dawn?
Yes.
Jesse Betcher?
Yes.
Stacy Hessel?
Yes.
Ron Buckholz?
Yes.
Bruce Paulson?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor.
Thank you. Moving on, contract extension with Northwest Regional Planning Commission. This is discussion, possible action to move to county board. Let me bring up the attachment. We have a working contract with Northwest Regional Planning to help us formulate and work through the update process of our Sawyer County Comprehensive Plan. With the nature of the pandemic and COVID-19, we weren't able to hold all of our meetings that we would like to have held. We are working virtually more so, but it did take a while to get into that virtual process. Therefore, our contract extension, or our contract was set to expire In June of 2021, this would be a request to move the extension to November 30th of 2021.
Why so long?
Because there's still quite a few public hearing processes that need to be happening. We're still working on the update portion, starting again here in May. May 1 was the deadline for all the towns to deliver their working town maps back to Northwest Regional Planning to get those implemented. We'll be holding another meeting at the comprehensive plan to either approve those maps. Then we're looking at public hearings through June, July, August, county board approval, September, October, November. So that is the time frame. And due to COVID and the inability to meet and keep this rolling, we are asking for this extension. Again, it's just a timing extension. No additional amount of money would be requested.
Right.
So,
but I need a motion to move this to county board and then a county board approval to extend the contract.
all right, okay.
With, again, no additional funds requested.
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion to extend the Northwest Regional Planning Comprehensive Plan contract to the date specified and send it to the county board for approval.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to post, or to move it to, I'm getting all tongue-tied here. Anyway, whatever Mr. Paulson said.
All right.
So,
I think you can just call for all in favor on that one.
Yeah.
I don't need a roll call.
also, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, under new business, we have a policy discussion for rezone information needed when applicants would also need a conditional use permit for an anticipated use. Last month, we heard a rezone that was requesting to rezone to residential recreational 2. Their purpose of the rezone request was for a campground. Now, generally, past practices, we've always kind of held those in conjunction, that you'd have a rezone and you'd have a conditional use permit. But that past practice isn't necessarily a policy, nor is it anything that's included within a zoning ordinance. In conversations with Rebecca, though, you have to be a little bit careful that you can't condition a legislative act. A rezone is a legislative act. So you couldn't make it a condition that they also submit a conditional use permit with a rezone request. But there could be discussion here at this committee meeting that if you wanted additional language included within the format needed to rezone, as for anticipated land use maps or anticipated layouts and site designs of a requested rezone. Basically, any information that you want to see come forward with a rezone without specifically saying that it also needs to be accompanied by a conditional use permit. That would be a condition which you can't do on a legislative act. This was brought up by another committee member. I think it merits having the discussion here at the committee level.
Okay, why would we not do that, what we just talked about?
In talks with Rebecca, we can't.
No, I'm just saying, why wouldn't we not, why wouldn't we change our ordinance so that we can see every piece of information? Because once a property is rezoned, it's rezoned.
Correct.
You know, and I can't recall in my 10, 11 years on zoning where we've ever approved a rezone without seeing the conditional use permit information.
Right, and I agree with that. You know, again, those circumstances and situations change. You know, I can give some examples where someone's, you know, requested to be rezoned to commercial. And part of that rezone request to commercial is that they wanted to open up a bar restaurant. It all sounded fine and dandy. We approved the rezone and they opened up a bar restaurant, which is a permitted use in a commercial 1 zone district. So they wouldn't have needed a conditional use permit with that. Now, same could be said, someone rezones to commercial, approvals granted for that, and they sell the property, or situations change, and instead of a bar restaurant, they want to open up an amusement park. With an amusement park, you would have needed a conditional use permit. So it somewhat opens the door that if you're gonna throw all this additional information that's requested with the rezone, well, maybe I'll just say that I'm wanting to do a permitted use. And then when situations change, you come back and apply for a cup for an amusement park with roller coasters and go-karts and mini golf and water slides and everything else.
How likely do you think that's gonna happen?
Right, but-
I think we're reaching here to, really reaching, and, I mean, so you rezone it to commercial, they change their mind, they come back for a commercial use, whatever it is.
Conditional use on a commercial,
Yeah.
yep.
I mean, then we consider everything at the time, the facts that we have. But it's already been rezoned commercial. So no
Right.
matter what the landowner does, he can do anything that's commercial, correct?
As a permitted use, you'd still have to come back through a cup, but with that change of Act 67, which by the way, you did an excellent job today in making and laying out your basis for substantial evidence in order to deny a cup. But if someone was to rezone to RR2 because they wanted to do a two-family dwelling unit in RR2 on a 40-acre parcel, that was what they specified on their applicant, they came in, we would probably, yes, you're rezoned to RR2 to do that. Later to come to find out that no, they've always thought about doing a campground there. That's when you see the conditional use permit come back in. That's where it's gonna be harder to deny that conditional use permit unless you have that substantial evidence. Just because their situation's changed, where you said you were gonna do a multifamily dwelling, now you're doing a campground, I don't know if that would merit substantial evidence.
No, I mean, why wouldn't we just consider the campground on its own merits? I mean, that's what I would do.
Right.
Rather than saying, no, look back in history and said, no, you said this, they're bringing back, something that we should be considering.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
once it's rezoned, the people whose property is rezoned, they have every right to comply with the requirements, whether it's a permitted use or they have to do something with a conditional use.
So that somewhat contradicts what you're maybe wanting in that if someone doesn't want a campground right away, why would they need to have all that layout and information provided at the time of a rezone? Such as the one we heard last month.
I mean, I'm here to do the people's business. And in my mind, we have to make a decision on a rezone based upon all the facts that are, all the relative facts, and once it's rezoned, it's rezoned.
Right.
So if the proposed campground doesn't make any sense, then why would we rezone? I mean, I just want to do the right thing by my employers, the guys from Bass Lake who send me here, and I really feel we need to look at all of the facts that we know at the time.
I agree with that part of it, it's, I don't know, I guess, what do we want to do here to make that happen? And,
Right, it's a discussion item only at this
Yeah.
point, but the kind of route would be me bringing some draft language back to this committee, be it in the form of our general zoning ordinance under rezones, where that is where we can require additional information needed as part of a rezone application. Something worded in the words, and again, the two most times it's gonna matter, and we kind of already know this, and I'll go on record as saying it, is campgrounds and gravel pits. Where that's where a lot of that additional information for future land use maps, operation kind of layouts, potential site layouts, that's where that information is needed most, in that's what a lot of the applicant, or a lot of the citizens were here today against. So we can add that language into that portion of the rezone without specifically requiring that it needs to be tied with a conditional use.
That's what I would, obviously, it's my recommendation.
So even with a
That's what
discussion only, I will bring draft language back so that we can have discussion, possible action on it next month.
Okay. I think other counties have just informal policies that say, and I'm not saying we're doing anything different, but other counties have informal policies where rezones that require a conditional use that come in at the same time.
And if Rebecca, if you want to weigh on that, we had that conversation where you were hesitant that we would require a cup be with a rezone.
No, I don't have any problem the direction we're going.
Okay.
I'm just saying that other counties, as part of their operations, maybe they're probably not following the letter of the statute, but they do require it. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is we're not any different than a lot of other counties by requiring I guess, the conditional use permit information at the time the rezone request.
And I can inform the applicant that it would be helpful to the committee to also see it at the same time without,
right,
as a requirement.
No,
It's a very helpful piece of information. So I can do that as a zoning administrator.
Right.
But I still think we should probably get a little bit more meat into the zoning ordinance with that additional language added into the rezone.
I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with doing it that way.
Okay,
All right, that's the discussion I needed on that. It gives
Okay.
me some direction.
you okay with that, Mr. Paulson?
Yeah, I
All
am.
right. Any other business that may come before this committee? I just want to say one thing to the committee members. Now, these zoning meetings, some months are gonna be long. We have to, when we go into public hearing, and Jay and Rebecca can verify, we have to give the people time to speak. It's just something that we can't push through
Right.
fast. So I'm just letting everybody know that zoning has changed in their meetings. I mean, they're longer now, and they could even get longer yet, who knows? So that's just what I wanted to throw out there to committee members. So,
No, I think we're doing the right thing. Again, we're hearing the people's business.
Exactly.
And
So
we're
we have to
doing-
listen to them.
I mean, they're our employers, not the other way around.
So.
Mr.
if there's
Chairman, can I-
Nothing, anything else?
Jesse, yes.
Jesse?
Yes, sir. If I can comment on that exact topic, some committee members have other jobs where they are responsible to their employers. So it's becoming increasingly difficult to, on a Friday mornings, be taken away from our normal jobs for 3-4 hours or more. I'm just wondering if it's possible to have a discussion in the future about maybe moving the time of our zoning committee meeting to start maybe later in the afternoon, where it's not going to, interrupt some other people's work schedules.
I understand that part of it is other people have jobs, but if they can't be there, for the whole thing, that's why we have an alternate.
And if the alternate can't be here because of their job, though.
Yeah, I understand that too. So I guess,
And I'll just make a quick comment, because again, at this point, it's somewhat moot in that we approve our dates and times usually in October, and that would be for the following calendar year, which we will have as an agenda item for approval of those dates and times. And if you want to discuss changing of those dates and times at that October meeting for 2022 zoning committee, that would be the appropriate time to do it.
okay.
I'm not married to any specific time. I just want to do the right thing.
Well, I am. I mean, the afternoon is not good.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
We just gotta do what we gotta do here, and I understand what Mr. Betcher's getting at. And maybe, like I say, with something we can discuss on a day that we ain't got oodles of cases, maybe?
Yeah, well, like I said, in October is we approve the dates and times of the next calendar year. So
Right.
again, we already have approval of these dates and times out until December of 2021. So if we want to look at changing days, changing times, we certainly can. Makes no difference to me. I'm here. This is my job, so I'm not taking away from it, so.
Me neither, Jay.
Mr. Chairman? Okay. Then we should.
Yes,
Mr.
Ms.
Chairman.
Pettit. Go ahead.
I would also like to second what Mr. Betcher said. It is very difficult when you're taken away from previous meetings. You have asked anything else to add to it if it was going to say that they
Dawn, you're cut out. You're cutting out quite a bit there, Dawn. Can you hear me, Dawn? You're cutting out quite a bit. We couldn't catch all that.
We can't hear you, Dawn.
Yeah. I said in the past, it has been said at this committee meeting, in the board meeting.
Have her send an email.
Yeah, if you could actually send an email on that. You're breaking up on your, it sounds like a cell phone quite a bit, and we're just hearing bits and parts. It's very
Right.
jumbled.
Send it out to the committee members.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did get the part where we get 100% raise in per diem though.
Oh, yeah, well.
All
right.
Any other?
Any, nothing else? We're adjourned.
Thank
May
you.
I make a
Thank you,
comment?
Chairman. Good job.
May I make a comment?
We're already adjourned.
We're already adjourned.
Oh, but he can.
Oh, this was a compliment. You want to hear a
Well, that
compliment?
will hear. That one will take.
I've sat here for 25 years, and on contentious hearings, the length of them, getting out of where you guys got out of it and the way it was handled was very professional, as quick as, and gave everybody an opportunity, and you guys did a fantastic job, so I just want to compliment you. So
Thank you, Phil.
you're welcome.
Maybe we'll-